And so we have a lot to talk about. But for right now, we are going to discuss people, June 11, 2018. Time, June 11, 2018. Cosmopolitan, July 2018. Toastmaster, June 2018. Time, the commemorative issue, June 4th, 2018. And out, July 2018. And we have some UN news, but it seems as if we're having technical difficulties. If anything changes, then we'll have UN news for this show as well. If it doesn't, then we won't. And also, if we have time, we did have some additional information that we wanted to include in the show. We may add that if we have time. And also, if we have time, the book for this show is going to be Being a Teen. Everything teen girls and boys should know about relationships, sex, love, health, identity, and more by Jane Fonda, with a foreword by Melissa Kottke. So the thing with Jane Fonda, why we chose that, is because we like Alvin. And so we're like, well, if Alvin's not with this Jane, the two Janes that we have are Jane Goodall and Jane Fonda. So again, if we have time, and definitely because Alvin went out in species, we are going to explore Jane Fonda's as an option. Um, and I think they're all like in the same age range. I think they're all in their 80s. So we're going to see again if we have time. And that's Being a Teen by Jane Fonda. All right. So let's see. Okay, word is, a rumor has it that the co-host of this show has been keeping it a secret, has been being silent about being a prince. And that Tiana, you all know who Tiana is, right? The princess. What if Tiana is first in line? So, because word is this co-host is trying to marry an actor. But Tiana's not an actor. Tiana's a princess. And everybody knows the prince goes with the princess and the princess goes with the prince. So, we'll keep you updated on that situation. It's also complicated, complex, and dramatic. So, beginning with, you say in the book that you don't advocate any one particular solution, but you must have a sense of what you think the solution should be, right? Well, it's always difficult to advocate one particular solution. So even if you say, well, we want, the solution should always be one, our one solution is the solution that keeps God first and works with God. Okay. Okay. Um, but that's so complex, when that is so complex, because it gets very complicated when God can go into so many different things. It can be so many different things. And when you try to have that as being like the one solution, the one focus, and the one mission, the one vision, the complexity and the challenge be when you're not always in that. When God is in this, but you're not in that. but you're still calling this. Or when God is in this and you're closing the door on that and you're not in that. Or when God is in this and you're closing, you're turning your back on that, but you're not in that. Or when God in this and you're trying to judge that and you're not in that. So that's where the complication comes. Like, you can say that, but generally speaking, sometimes it'd be difficult for everyone to like be in it always. Even when they like knowingly in it always. And sometimes you need people to be in it knowingly always. And sometimes it just doesn't happen like that in reality. So, a team of scientists attempting to measure dolphin happiness for the first time has determined that in captivity, the marine mammals are in their best spirits when spending time with a familiar human. Korean boy band BTS made history as the first K-pop group to top the US charts after its new album, Love Yourself Tear, hit #1 on the Billboard 200. Oh my gosh, there is a Korean boy band called BTS. And there it looks, according to this picture, there are 7 people in it. I wonder what it sounds like. It's probably like really, really fast and awesome. Maybe you want to put on some wet shoes and just really, really dance. Awesome. BTS, Korean boy band. That's a good to know. Okay, drones that can fly great distances and take off and land vertically are being tested for their capabilities and emergency response operations. Drones. Inequality is found around the globe, but the World Bank says South Africa qualifies as the starkest example. Inequality is found around the globe, but the World Bank says South Africa qualifies as the starkest example. Israel used small drones to drop tear gas on protesters along the border fence of the Gaza Strip. And there is a photo available of such. Kerry Kennedy. Think of the headlines over the past few years, and it is easy to hear Robert Kennedy's voice and imagine him speaking out in our country on the madness of gun violence, the shame of police brutality, the need for compassion and welcoming immigrants and refugees, the urgent need to defy the call to war, and where war has broken out, the more necessity of seeking peace. One imagines him urging us to focus not only on stopping terrorism, but also on understanding and addressing its root causes. He would encourage us to focus on the destructive force of hate, the disillusionment of young people, the inherent injustice of a criminal justice system that discriminates based on race and class and sends thousands to jail simply because they are too poor to make bail, the new Jim Crow. Asked a decade later how he could have worked for McCarthy, Kennedy responded, "Well, at the time I thought there was a serious internal security threat to the United States and seemed to be the only one doing anything about it. But to leave it at stopping the bullies would not do him justice." On that terrible night when he told a crowd in downtown Indianapolis that Martin Luther King Jr. had been murdered, he included in his remarks a quote from Aeschylus, "To tame the savageness of man and make gentle the life of the world." I remember after dinner one night, he picked up the battered poetry book that was always somewhere by his side and read aloud Tennyson's poem, The Charge of the Light Brigade. I did not win that contest, so my sister Courtney did, but one stanza still remains with me. There's not to reason why, there's but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Terry Kennedy. Lightbox. The protest was arranged by survivor and gun control activist David Hogg to call attention to the changed support for Florida gubernatorial candidate, who has said he's proud to be a National Rifle Association sellout. Moments before the event, Publix announced it will suspend corporate-funded political contributions. The Breakdown. Wednesdays at 4 p.m. ET, the biggest stories explained. The slaughter of some 150,000 cows in New Zealand in an attempt to eliminate a disease-causing bacterium. If the plan works, it will be the first time an infected country eliminates the pathogen. Like, I really don't want to get medical when it comes to, I know it's talking about cows and cows aren't people, and I really don't want to get medical when it comes to the 911 terrorist attacker in the city of Petersburg. But this movie theater that I absolutely adore, that's open 365 days a year, regardless of weather, happened to show a viewing of The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And they first showed the 1958 version. And if I guess you're long-winded and have a lot of, mental and emotional stamina, you were able to stay for the I think it's 78 version of the same movie, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And it actually has another title someplace else, but the title that was distributed, I guess, here in the States maybe, is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So, it's like you want to just be like, this is a movie and we go to be entertained about stuff that would never actually happen. Like something like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and of course they take it and add a little, extreme imagery and extreme like descriptions to it, so you're like, that's just too hard to believe type thing perspective. But from a medical perspective, it's like this like this disease causing bacterium that's trying to infect, or that has been infecting over the course of 2 to 3 decades. Just from a medical perspective, I'm like, to just eliminate it and terminate it, from a medical science perspective, I'm like, where are my Muppets? Where my Muppets at? Anyway, moving on, because I'm feeling very vomity just thinking about it. The brief news ruling: Trump can't block Twitter users. President Donald Trump violated the First Amendment when he or an aide blocked 7 Twitter users because they disagree with his views. A federal judge in New York ruled on May 23rd. President Donald Trump violated. God. Okay, so like I've been really like catching myself up with a lot of the work and contributions of public representatives, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And another one that I caught, Rules of Engagement, which ironically went out in 2000, and they had Yemen and Vietnam, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like these people are just can be so timely in what they do and don't even know it, politically. So I'm like so appalled, that this court judge, which we clearly don't have, but thankfully we still had, law was still present and available, tried to have breach of peace in a guilty sentence. So here we have this June 11th, because mind you, we still got Judge Dennis Martin Sr. Of the Circuit Court in Petersburg, Virginia, as one of those same judge. And unfortunately, not even acting, just really think, like I don't even know, I can't even get into the head of that type of that type of offender. But anyway, so this federal judge ruled that this is what it says now, that President Donald Trump violated, because either he or an aide did this, but it was a violation to President Donald Trump. The bulletin left behind. EU proposes plastic ban to save the seas. The brief. The brief opener. Block tooth sensitivity at the source, so cold foods are cool again. Bring out the bold. $18.83 million. Amount paid by Spangler Candy Company, maker of Dum Dum Lollipops and Circus Peanuts, for New England Confectionery Company, Necco Wafers, and Mary Jane's, at a federal bankruptcy auction. So I'm like, oh my gosh, babies are us and toys are us and kids are us are reportedly filing bankruptcy, and in addition to filing bankruptcy, closing their stores June 30th, 2018. It is now June 13th, 2018. I have personally gone in, I'm like, oh my gosh, because I have really gotten, not just into gotten active in contributions of public reps, such as rules of engagement, where you actually see the actors doing and engaging in things, but animation contributions, such as The Secret Life of Pets. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like where is all of this gonna go? Like what is gonna happen? Because it's not like, oh, this part, just because these child molesters and just because judges like Judge Dennis Martin Sr. of the Circuit Court in the city of Petersburg got caught in contributions such as animation that are family oriented and that are geared towards babies and parents, and they want to close babies. They want to close Toys R Us. And I happen to have the opportunity to go and check out to go to Potomac Mills. So I'm like driving around, I'm just assuming that it's gonna have like its own like door, which it didn't. So I'm asking the guy, I was like, is it inside or outside? I asked one guy, he didn't know. He was like, I know what you're talking about, but I don't really know. I'm like, okay. Then I go around and, I was like, then, these girls like, are you gonna stop? Then this one guy, I'm like, what is it in the, what is it in the mall? Is it outside the mall? He's like, it's in the mall. I go inside the mall. I talked to one of those like kiosks that had a group at it. I'm like, it's Toys R Us this way or that way. She's like, isn't that way around the corner? So I'm walking. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a long way. I'm thinking it's gonna be like right there. So I'm like walking, and then I'm like, I know it's in like number 5, right? So I'm like at like number 2, and I'm like, and I had already seen like 3. I'm like, wait a minute, I must have passed it. So I'm like stopping this other guy. I'm like, what? These 2 guys. I'm like, where's Toys R Us? I think I've passed it. And one guy was like, it's not like in the mall. I'm like, I'm thinking the guy just told me it's in the mall, right? So then the other guy is like, well, like it's down that way. And cause see, mind you, I looked at the directory, and it's on there, Toys R Us, and it's in number 5. So he's like, it's around there. It's across from Build-A-Bear. So I'm like, I remember, distinctly remember Build-A-Bear. Yeah, so I'm like going around here, and I'm like, okay, I'm coming up across Build-A-Bear, and then I turn to my right, and this beautiful space, blue. The whole thing is just blue and glossy, but the doors are closed. All these different people, nobody has said, not one person has said, except for the guy. He said, well, it's outside the mall, but he still said that it was, and then this other guy, the one that said that was with the girl that says around the corner, he's like, well, it's about to close. Nobody said that the place was closed. And I'm like, oh my gosh. You have to catch yourself because it's like it just looks like such a beautiful space. But then you have to catch yourself because how can it be beautiful if it's closed? It's supposed to still be open and working. So, I'm like going back, rewinding to showing up to pledge for AKA at Virginia Union University and being asked a question. I'm like, well, my show is like the Babies R Us market. And now it's closing. So I don't know what to feel right now about that. Really? I don't. But I'm like, it just, I'm just like, I got understand them because I'm like, it just can't be, maybe I'm hurt myself, like it just can't be closing. Like we just don't support that, so maybe I did hear myself in them a little bit, but I'm like, oh my gosh. And if that's the case, well, then it needs to not be open. I mean, it needs to not be closed. Just because you filed bankruptcy, doesn't mean that's the end all. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, and that was the past few days. And, evidently the date of closure is June 30th. So I'm like, okay, something has to happen in this. My babies are us, my toes are us. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. The brief behind the scenes. The result was one of the biggest drone shows ever produced in the US. And I'm looking at this photo and it's like suspended in the air like that. If you ever seen a Time magazine, there's like most times there's a border and then you have like the word Time, Time, like inside the border at the top center. So it's like that image suspended in air with like looking like little red dots, like it was made by Light Bright, if any of you like throw back to that game. But I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Humans of New York Coffee Table Book. Humans of New York Coffee Table Book. That's actually the title. And it's going for $18.61 on Amazon. 2018 Bodies issue, Transformations. I want to be the healthiest I can be. And more with that, 2018 Bodies, Transformation. And this is all by Jessica Fecteau. It was the best decision, says Rose. I felt like my boobs made me look heavier because they were so big, Rose says. I'm really blessed to have someone who encourages aging naturally to the point where I've stopped coloring my hair now. Then she quit Botox and fillers to age gracefully and let my body and my face become whatever they are going to become. A couple of years ago, I decided that I would try to sneak in a tiny bit of Botox to see if my husband noticed. And this is still with 2018 bodies issues and transformations. I want it to look like a Coke bottle. I also set a goal to lose 70 pounds by the time I turn 27 this July, because that's when I need to start getting mammograms as someone with a higher risk of developing breast cancer. This has been the best thing that ever happened to me, and I know my mom will be so proud. For the best simple snacks ever, California walnuts. She's not going to want to be a quiet princess and simply open hospitals or cut ribbons. And maybe that's why co-host has been kind of, well, no, because that's Tiana. In the beginning, Tony and Susan Alamo married in 1966 and built their ministry together. From good wife to vain beauty. So back with Jessica Fatale, 26, no, 28. Best known for playing Neville Longbottom in the Harry Potter films, married Angela Jones in Italy. 30, the son of Princess Caroline of Monaco and his wife Beatrice Borromeo. 32, welcomed a son, Francesco Carlo Albert, on May 21st. Happy birthday. So speaking of Monaco, I so want to say yes to 25-day tour in the United States, a travel to Europe, a week stay in Monaco, in a November centerfold. But I'm so hesitating to say at age 59, because that's like 19 years away. So Michelle Williams, I was there to inspire them, but it wound up working the other way around. Steve Helling. Yes, Helling. Weinstein fully expects to be exonerated, his lawyer Benjamin Brofman said. We were young women who were assaulted by Weinstein and later terrorized by his vast network of complicity, said in a statement. So we contacted what is it here? It's not listed here on anything, but Weinstein is was listed as a contributor to I forgot what it's called, but the people that put together the Academy Awards and like I guess they put together the ballot, they make all of those decisions about the ballot and make sure everything and all of that runs smoothly. He was one of those people, but he got kicked off or had to resign or whatever happened. So we contacted them, as such, from the perspective of just knowing better. That no, we feel no. It's like how do I express this? Like you find yourself in a situation, like some things I'm learning about, like I've gotten into, more into law and then having and not understanding the legal aspect, because we are with security and law. Part of that is understanding like like where the thirst to violate really comes from, and not from being provoked, but and you can really get that if you in species too, where it's like it was like that type, it was like that type of situation where it's like it's something, you're trying to get, and this is really who, and somebody starts showing you who you are, like this is what's coming from this, you the violator, but I'm acting out you, it's like that is what was going on. So we contacted them, as such, and said such, but got no response. Honey, the best thing to happen to your cup since coffee. The night Broadway shines the brightest. So just to back up, with that being said, this show is on Weinstein's. Is on the side of Weinstein, and with Weinstein acting out because he prefers being with the real Academy, and that's why that kind of happened, you know. Just because, we personally had probably 2 years with Weinstein, back in the 90s. Yeah, back in the mid to late 90s. So just from those 2 years and knowing what we were up against, and this is something that we've always been in, knowing what we was up against in those 2 years, it kind of made it kind of clear to us what was going on, what's going on in it. So we spoke up about it. The brand moms turn to first. It might be off season, but Patriots quarterback Tom Brady showed off his arm at a Jaguar event during the Formula One Grand Prix. There we go again, Day Monaco. I'm looking forward to that week's Day in Monaco. I don't even know what Monaco is right now. Anyhow, Kelly behind the scenes is the same way you see her on camera, says 15, who is the show's youngest winner. Awesome, 15. The best talent show on air, thesource.com. What is that? Try Thursdays from 6 to 7 on Fox to see what they're talking about. And what do you think John Legend said when he was sharing marital advice for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to Billboard? John Cadley. No, I won't be talking about those words. The ones you couldn't say as a child for fear of having your mouth washed out with soap. That's because they've heard them and were too lazy to look them up. So now they feel stupid. Maybe once or twice because they think you're kidding. Hey, John, did you call me a flaneur? I went hiking with a friend once and remarked that our outing was bound to be salubrious. The big words, he said. It's not like I'm blatantly showing off by using foreign words. However, if I said the same thing with perfectly legitimate English words, I found tremendous delectation in that actress's ability to portray Lady Macbeth's malevolent, rebarbative nature. I would get the same dirty licks, probably with an "oh shut up" thrown in to boot. Here's the problem. People who use big words are thought to be showing off how smart they are. When you come upon a word like solipsistic, look it up. Not to be a smarty pants, but because it can be so much fun. Wouldn't it be great to tell them exactly what you think with no fear of repercussion because they have no idea what you're talking about? Oh. How to be funny across cultures. Chris Boron, thank you for your life-changing vision, which empowers individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. Katrina Shaver, ACB, My book, Henry, A Polished Swimmer's True Story. I'm sorry, a polish. That's nail polish. Polish, that's a nationality, right? So my book, Henry, A Polish Swimmer's True Story of Friendship from Auschwitz to America, is a nonfiction biography that was 15 years in the making. As I reflected the next day, I realized that leadership roles for completing the Competent Leadership Manual had contributed to building my confidence and speaking skills as much as all my prepared speeches had. Oh no, she is not trying to have a book called Henry. The trick is to become more aware of when we're overusing technology and find creative ways to escape from our screens, even for small moments. Now for Paul Sturman. Leaders at every level of the organization serve their fellow members, helping them boost their confidence, build their skills, and accomplish their goals. She goes beyond the norm to help her leaders succeed, says a Pathways Guide. The volunteer role is challenging and demanding, but the rewards are worth it. So if you don't know, a lot of the information that I've just read from how to be funny across cultures came from Toastmasters, which is a totally 100% volunteer organization that I participate with. What is it like to be mentored? Mary Mansfield. Being mentored is different from different people because different people are different. You know, it seems as if your mentor is either they actually like assist you with certain guidances, like um, or um, there there's some that are more like bodyguards, you know, when it comes to um, you know, more like mental health bodyguards. And that's all I'll say about that. The Algoa Toastmasters Club in Port Elizabeth, South Africa celebrates change, including the introduction of pathways on the beach at Sharp Rock Pier on the Eastern Cape. How to be funny across cultures. And again, how are you funny across cultures? You know, how do you do that? How to be funny across cultures when people are so in their own worlds and so in their own communities, and a lot of times are 100% in it, you know? So how do you reach all of those different people when they're 100% in their own world, in their own communities, and provide humor? Table of contents. Camilla would never be the same. Boo's been burning the midnight oil all week. So yeah, I made history by getting master on the left and the right over 1400. Boo. Lisa Freeman. Grab that second helping of crab legs and chat up the bride's parents' friends. Can you imagine me having crab legs or snow crab legs at my wedding? I was just getting used to the idea of this whatever about people throwing cake, which I've never heard of. That evidently people used to throw cake in the past at the bride and groom versus, I guess, rice or whatever. Versus eating the cake, they throw the cake. Because you can, how can you eat the cake? How can you get a slice of cake and eat it and then throw it in the same wedding? So you're either eating the cake or you're throwing the cake. So then I guess they said, well, we want to eat. We want some cake. We want some cake. We don't want to. We don't use rice. We don't want to throw. We want. We want a bite. We want to taste it. So I was just getting used to the idea of having people throw cake at us and my beautiful dress and just and and my beautiful in our beautiful dress and tux. Because what if I have on the tux? What if he has on the dress? Well, you don't know that. But snow crablets or crablets, can you imagine that at my wedding? Anyway, I'm like, oh my gosh, no Cat Mondi did not get married on me. But did you see the wedding? It's like one of the things we had to catch yourself because I'm like, that is pretty cool. Those rings are pretty cool. Both of them have veils on. I'm like, that is pretty cool. And then like this big old table. Like, that's kind of, but you had to catch yourself. Wait a minute. You're Jennifer Connelly. Yeah. Yeah. So, Cancer is about to lead the pack for what is this? Horoscopes. And we have that big promotion he's gunning for is in his sights. No one has their eyes on the ball like you this month, and it pays off on the ninth when Venus moves into your zone of fame and success. A trip before the 11th will be full of fun and photo ops, but the big headline this month is a major job opportunity that comes your way mid-month. Feel out the bride. Feel out the bride. Is it proper etiquette to devour snow crab legs at the bride's wedding? Feel out the bride. Before the big party, do I have to buy it off the registry? The average cost of a big day hit an all-time high in 2016, which means you're paying too for everything from gifts to flights to penis straws for the Bachelorette Fest. Okay, so I don't think they eliminated my bachelorette party. I can't have a bachelorette party because the girls got really outrageous, and now I can't have a bachelorette party. So isn't that where you get to do like the penis straws and stuff like that? Anyway. Anyhow, if I can have a bachelorette party, there damn sure won't be a bachelor party. So you can forget about that. Here's how to save your sanity and your bank account while also having the best time ever. Yeah. So whoever I marry, if I can't have a bachelorette party, I don't even, you don't even think about it. The fellas, your fellas, other girls, or your girl, or your sister girlfriends. It ain't gonna happen. Unless I can have my bachelorette party. I'm gonna look how I want to look. It's going to be on my terms. How she wants walk to be seen on screen. Beauty tip. Beauty tip. Try Chanel like Oud Ton Refreshing Self Tanning Body Mist going for $60, and you still need to wear SPF 30 or higher. Beauty tip. Beauty tip. I'd be totally starstruck if I ever met. Okay. This says Julia Roberts, but let me see. I'd be totally starstruck. Right now, I have two. Of course, one is Brad Pitt. I'm like, Brad Pitt, him, and the other one, Puff Daddy, of course. So I have this story about Puff Daddy. All right, so I'm in New York, right? And then like I don't even know if this was before I started doing this show, if it was after, but I'm like, I'm like, like this next big thing. So I get the address for Bad Boy Entertainment, right? So evidently Bad Boy Entertainment and Def Jam are like really right close to each other. So I'm like, I'm gonna make a little time. I'm gonna use my time. Like I'm gonna go to both. So I go there. I go to Bad Boy first. I don't remember what I had on, but there's this desk. You go in the door. There's this desk to the right, and this guy with a close haircut. And I'm like, like I got inspired by Ugly Betty. America Ferrera and Ugly Betty, right? So, I'm like, I so got in America in an Ugly Betty. So I'm going to Bad Boy. So this is before I knew who I knew Puff Daddy was to me. So I go there and I'm like, this guy, he was kind of stocky like me, or not like me, behind the desk. And I'm like, I'm here to see. I want to make a meeting. I'm here to see Puff Daddy. No, I said Sean Combs because I think I saw Sean Combs somewhere on the wall or something like that. Like even though I think it was, I don't know, like if it said Bad Boy, or I think maybe I saw Sean Combs on the wall. I mean, not Sean Combs, Sean John. So I'm like, I'm here to talk to Sean. I'm here to talk to Sean Combs. I want to, I want a meeting with Sean Combs. So sometime around this time, things started getting so not clear. I'm like, oh my gosh, like where am I at right now? Like really? And so I saw this guy, like I don't know if it's like a staircase that they have, like to the right, where it's like a it's like things just started not getting clear. Like I don't know, maybe they put tear gas in the lobby. So it was like a spiral staircase or something. And I don't remember what's to the left of me, but still now I'm standing and the guy's behind the desk in front of me. There's only one person in there. So then this guy, I think he comes down the stairs. He comes from somewhere, and he's about the same complexion, of course, as Sean Combs. And I don't know. I don't remember what size he was at that time, but he's smaller than the Sean Combs that I've seen in the magazine. Because I frequent like the bookstore, and I like going back there to the magazine section. And he was on the cover. So he's smaller than that one. So he like came down, but he didn't walk past the desk, and I'm looking at him and to my left, but I'm not turning around looking at this guy because the desk man just started getting not clear. And then he started looking like, I don't know, luscious, or is it delicious? I forgot what movie that was, but the guys, the character name is Luscious or Delicious with the lip gloss. Except he didn't have lip gloss on, but he looked like he had lip gloss on, shiny lip gloss, and his hair was cut. And I'm like, oh no, I am not in Puff Daddy's Bad Boy right now. I'm like, who is this dude who cannot be the dude doing his desk. I'm like, are you serious? And then this guy, again, like he won't walk this way. Cause it's not like a really, really, really big space or lobby. It's just like the door, like you walk in, it's this really little space with the desk dude. So he was just like standing over there. And I'm like, I'm like, okay, I know it's not Puff. I know it's not him. You know, is it? It's like his doppelganger like coming down. I'm like, do you know who I am? So, and he was like, well, he doesn't really do his meetings like that. He works with a company now called, I think it's called like Blue Flame or something like that. Like he works with this company now, and you have to contact this company to, if you're trying to get a meeting with him, you have to contact Blue Flame, Blue, whatever the company name. I know it has blue in it, and I think it's Flame. You have to anyway. You have to contact this company now. If you want to get them, if you want to try to get a meeting with him. And so he gave me the card. And I'm like, okay. I was like, oh, but then the part of me was like this guy over here that's not clear with this whatever winding staircase. And then him behind his desk looking like delicious. And I don't want to kiss him in the mouth. Because that's so not delicious to me. And I'm like, okay, like, then I'm like, okay, do you know you're on your way? Like, oh my gosh, do you know who I am? So then I leave there. I got this card and a Blue Flame. I don't know if I tossed it then or what. I don't think it made it back to my residence with me. But anyway, I left there and I go to Def Jam. And I'm like, I don't know anybody in Def Jam. I just know I got a Def Jam. So there you go in there. Their lobby is like, compared to Bad Boy, their lobby was like, it had to be like 3 to 5 times bigger. Their desk is to the right. So it's like 2 guys there, and they're like, maybe not, they were bigger than the guy at Bad Boys. One of them was, the one that I talked to, he was bigger than him. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, and they're like, can we help you? Like he's sitting down, the one that's talking to me, and then there's one that's standing up. They're like, well, can we help you? Like, we get people like you coming here all the time. Like they're lost and don't know where they are. Like, well, can we help you? Little Red Riding Hood in the woods. Can we help you? And I'm like looking around. And I'm like looking around like, this is Def Jam? Is there someone here? You looking at me? I'm just like, I'm here. Like you got me here out of my bed, in my clothes on, me. I'm here. Like, okay, who am I here to see? Who am I here to see? I was like, so this is Def Jam. It's like, yeah, can we help you? So I'm like, okay. So I guess, is there somebody on the directory that you're trying to reach? I guess I think they were like, is there somebody in the directory that we can reach for you? I'm like, no, I'm just here and I'm Def Jam. Now I'm gonna leave. Bye. Peace. And that was my day. So then that wasn't the day. So then there's like this little like park that's like up the street from because they're like on the same block. That was my first time even being on that part of New York. So I'm like going there, there's like this little block, and I'm like sitting there, like I sat there for like maybe a minute before I felt like I was in a mob movie. Like, okay, I feel like something's about to jump off. And like, I think I'm going to leave. Yeah, I think leaving would be very awesome right now. So I think I went to Little Italy the same day. And found, like, it was like a similar park. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm back on that block, like, oh no, Abby's the block, like sitting here like, okay, I'm chilling, but maybe I shouldn't be chilling. but it's not that environment where it's like, they're gonna shoot me, like, like, and I guess it's like, no, they're just gonna shoot who was trying, because I didn't know, like, he's my Mr. Pop. So back to, I be totally starstruck, because back then, he's always been Mr. Puff to me. But then when I showed up there, I didn't know that, So now I'm like, okay, maybe that's why, going here, then going to Little Italy, it felt very intimidating, because he's like, I've always been Mr. Puff. Like, who is that? 1, 2, 3, blast off! That's funny, I know. So then I'm like, I didn't stay there too long either. Who is that? Trying to help Mrs. Pup. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'd be totally starstruck if I ever met Mr. Pup. Mr. Pup! Yay! Okay, that was my 2 starstruck story. Will never be the same. And I never told this story to anyone. Okay, so make cameos in pop photos, flaunt Instagram's anti-nudity rules, and when one slipped out on a Paris runway, she didn't bother to cover it up. When you coach him to be a great BF for his next GF. What? We appreciate your interest, but we are unavailable to offer you a position at this time. Do straight identifying men ever say I love you to their best friends? Question. Do straight identifying men ever say I love you to their best friends? Man, I love you. I guess it's not because they're homophobic. I guess when it becomes difficult when you're single is what the issue be, Because then it's like, what if you say it when you're single and next thing you know, you're Brokeback Mountain? That wouldn't be too good, right? So, and then what if you call yourself being married and it's not the one? So, my answer to that, when it's television, when it's on a rap, when you recording, when it's film. So do men want to pay the bill? Of course. I pay Beyonce bills all the time. Just kidding. By 61 is the percentage by which men are more likely than women to be nervous before a first date. The percentage by which men are more likely than women to be nervous before a first date is 61%. How can I let my mate know I want to try being dominated in bed? How can I let my mate know I want to try being dominated in bed? I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just seeing you strapped to a bed. Sometimes when my guy thrusts deep into me, it hurts. And he's not that big. Well, I guess that's a good thing that he's not that big. But then, if he's not that big, why are you having sex? Stacy Colino. During masturbation, envision a session by the pool or on a boat in the middle of a lake, using your imagination and all five senses to make it feel real. Let me back that up a little bit. During masturbation, envision a session by the pool or on a boat in the middle of a lake, using your imagination and all five senses to make it feel real, suggests clinical psychologist, PhD, a sex and relationship expert. After bathing, don't dry off, says author of Making It Hot, Sex Tips from the Curvy Girl Playbook. Instead, slip on a white top and walk into the bedroom to show your partner you'd win any wet t-shirt contest, hands down. Wear a barely there bikini in front of your SO. Celebrate National Orgasm Day, July 31st, with your partner by taking a blanket outside right before sunset. The next best thing, sex in an outdoor shower. Place a small dab of coconut lube, such as JO Hybrid silicone free cooling lubricant, onto your clitoris, and then ask Bae to lick the exotic flavor. Interesting. Excuse me. Let me take a sip. All I can say is wow. From the masturbating, envisioning a session by the pool or on a boat in the middle of a lake, to the to the uh sex in the outdoor shower, to the small dab with a coconut lube on the clitoris and asking babe, not your SO, and asking babe to lick the exotic flavor. And a small dab of coconut lube. Well, it seemed as though Samantha Jones tackled one of them, the sex in the outdoor shower, on Sex in the City. I was like, oh my God, an outdoor shower. That would be so awesome. But here comes Samantha Jones. And you're like, yeah. Mm, Okay, the best thing start with S. Sun, sand, sex. 3 beach reads that will fog up your sunglasses. One of them includes the Sleeping Beauty trilogy. So you can probably check that someplace, your local library, Amazon. Go easy on the booze. Unprotected sex or birth control failure. Beauty. Start by making a kissy face. Then sweep bronzer along the hollow of your cheeks, right under the bone. Add a bit to your temples and jawline to contour. Then dip an angled liner brush into your bronzer and lightly fill in any holes or patchy parts. A little more of beauty. A customized procedure in which a trained technician detects and treats such foot and nail health issues as calluses, cracked heels, corns, and discoloration, says a medical nail technician, owner of Mani Pedi NYC, rather than just disguising them with a light buffing or paint job. As for nails, they'll be restored to their natural color and texture with instruments that deep clean and blast away flakes in white and yellow layers, or white or yellow layers. So it's really coming out to me that, oh my gosh, maybe like, you know, being able to have your feet treated, as opposed to just thinking, oh, you have these wonderful things, but actually being able to have your feet treated for something like calluses, acquired heels, and discoloration and calluses could be an actual interesting thing, that may actually help you. Just being in, community or environment or whatever. Interesting. I never really thought about, that field like that. Just mostly like beautification and, upkeep and maintenance, but not necessarily like, from the perspective that my feet may not be well, I may have a problem, not keeping up or not being in sync or not being right with God because something that's going on with my feet or my toes or my heels, or, like maybe I can walk better with God, or maybe I can walk better with God's people, or maybe I can walk better with being with God, and maybe seeing somebody like that could help me. Anyway, beauty. One isn't better than the other. Some formulas like this one use both. 30 is the minimum recommended by the American Academy of Dermatology, and that's regarding SPF. So they're saying that this article is saying regarding beauty is that 30 is the minimum amount of SPF that is recommended by the American Academy of Dermatology. And, as they always say, don't get caught up in race when it comes to it. Yeah. I'm not going to get into their soapbox on, what is it? Is it again? Is it actually, it doesn't say. Or whatever it is, skin protectant, whatever it's called industry-wise. Beauty, compared to, I'll just keep it at that. Beauty. Beauty, beauty, beauty. Introducing a unique eye drop that dramatically reduces redness to help your eyes appear whiter and brighter. Our beauty experts have spoken, and the awards speak for themselves. Beauty. Beauty. Use gold accents for a little bit of sparkle. Dare to bear a little. So you know what's too funny? Be there soon. I don't need to be showered in chocolates and fine wine. You know what else is too funny? My friend has a baby and owns a boutique. I just bought a cactus. It died in a week. Jessica Nall. She had eaten 6 smallish bites of birthday cake. She wrote in a caption on a gym selfie, and the time for her sweaty repentance had come. I found the unfollow button with moderate difficulty, buried in an icon, while the follow button is clearly bannered in blue, and tapped it. On an IG story the other day, a successful entrepreneur justified the pizza she had for dinner with the bone broth she had for lunch. But I really started to bleed from my eyes when a self made millionaire tagged her trainer in a photo of dessert apologizing to him. That's why I take it so hard when a strong woman apologizes for their food choices, justify their hunger, and belittle their appearance over a 3 pound weight gain. I used to be one of them. A year into my work with her, I'm living proof that this way of thinking is simply a booby trap we set for women in our undernourished trek to the top. Just know. Sam Page. We chatted with the office hottie from the Bold Type just before season 2 premieres, which was yesterday, actually, June 12th. I don't think they should be totally off limits, even in a corporate setting like the Bold Types um, Richard and Sutton are in. So, July is coming up, and it is said to be the best month ever. And you're pretty much guaranteed to be a belladonna, that's Italian for total smoke show, in Calzone's new swim line. Round up the badass babes in your vicinity for a game of nasty women, like Cards Against Humanity with a feminist twist. So yes, the game, it is a card game, and yes, it actually is called Nasty Woman. Say what? You really think? And it's going for about $19 on Amazon. The escalating suspicion permeating social creature will give you chills, even if you're reading it on the beach. In Imagine Dragons frontman and singer shed light on the complicated relationship between the LGBTQ community and the Mormon Church in the eye-opening doc Believer. So again, it's not just the LGBT community, but the LGBTQ community. And that's in Believer, which will start June 25th on HBO. With Meant to Be Singer. And also in July, that's making it the best ever, is find the perfect cue for any stop on your summer vacay itinerary with Urban Decay's travel-inspired Born to Run palette. Will you be there? Bethany, bath time. Could you be the next great romance writer? Could you? Jeremy Irons. Your 2005 recording of Vladimir Nabokov's Lolita is considered by many to be the gold standard for audiobooks. A 2008 study found that based on the combination of tone, speed, frequency, words per minute, and intonation, you have very close to the ideal voice. What is your first memory of someone bending to your will strictly based on your verbal power? Wow. What is your first memory of someone bending to your will strictly based on your verbal power? The first memory of someone bending to my will, strictly based on my verbal power. Get it or not, but watching Charlie's Angels. Did not write this play to be performed, so performing it as written requires the actors to discover from what is on the page much that is not. I managed to do it on our press night for the British production of Long Day's Journey. Fortunately, he cut back to where we should have been, leaving me with the unenviable task of repeating a page word for word. Jamie Ducharme, But fruits and vegetables like corn, peaches, peppers, eggplant, pineapple, squash, and watermelon hold up well on the barbecue and don't form HCAs when they're cooked. In addition to being carcinogenic, some of the toxins produced by grilling meat may also increase your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. But think beyond red. Processed meats like sausage, bacon, and hot dogs seem to be even worse, increasing your risk of colorectal cancer and packing in salt and preservatives. So I just saw some hot dogs today. I'm like, no, but they have to go from containers to bags. I'm like, I felt like I was in Legally Blonde. Like they're trying to change us from using Charmin to generic. How dare they? So they went from containers to bags. But anyway, back to this, Jamie the Charm. Ground pepper appears to be effective too. In one study, Smith found that mixing a gram of it with 100 grams of ground beef blocked the formation of HCAs. A true story of trauma brought to life in fiction. The Break. Good Trouble by Joseph O'Neill. In 2017, Markle closed down her lifestyle blog, The TIG, commenting, "It's time to say goodbye." Before the ceremony. After a few more days, Harry invited Markle to join him on a trip to Botswana. The couple started their married life with a ride in an Ascot Landau open-top carriage down the long walk, thronged by thousands of well-wishers. The bride began her walk down the aisle, accompanied by 10 page boys and bridesmaids. Michael Pollan. For his latest book, How to Change Your Mind, the author researched and experimented with psychedelic drugs. These chemicals allow us to essentially reboot the brain. If the brain is stuck in these grooves of thought, whether it's an obsession or fear or the story you tell yourself, all those deep grooves can be dissolved and temporarily suspended in a way that allows us to break those patterns. Wow, so let's back up. So he's researched, not only research, the book is called How to Change Your Mind. He not only researched but experimented with psychedelic drugs. So he's saying that the chemicals allows us to essentially reboot the brain, as if the brain is like a computer that needs, it's not really working right. So when it doesn't work right, the next thing or one of the steps that they ask you is to reboot it. So essentially these chemicals reboot the brain. So if the brain is stuck in these grooves of thought, whether it's obsession, whether it's fear, whether it's a story that you tell yourself, that they can all dissolve or be temporarily suspended in a way that allows us to break those patterns with these psychedelic drugs. Michael. China's pledge to further open its economy is set to bring more opportunities to foreign investors. The brief milestones. She will be the first woman to direct the agency, and it is confirmed. It is confirmed that Baby and I will be traveling to San Diego, California. A request from President Trump to halt the defamation lawsuit brought against him by former Apprentice contestant Summer Zervals by a New York appeals court. So Cambridge Analytica, the political consulting firm at the center of Facebook's privacy scandal for bankruptcy on May 17th, was filed. And that request will remind President Trump was denied. The Brief News by Charlie Campbell, Beijing. We always talk about how North Koreans hedge and cheat, but they always talk about how we democracies throw out the deals made by the last guy, says John Delury, an East Asia expert at Yonsei University in Seoul. So is that Korean band BTS North Korean or South Korean? The Brief. The Brief opener. Crosses outside Santa Fe High School bear the names of the 10 victims of the May 18th shooting. And I'm catching Chris Stone. So I'm not really familiar with this Santa Fe High. Let's see what we can find online. It says Santa Fe High. Santa Fe High. And evidently this was in May 18th. So this is in Texas, May 18th. I'm sorry. I don't have, cable television anymore. So, stuff gets to me how it gets to me, and it's gonna get to me if it's supposed to get to me. But this Santa Fe High School shooting occurred in Santa Fe, Texas, in the Houston metropolitan area. 10 people were fatally shot, 13 others were wounded. Let's see. They don't really have that much in here about it, but it does say that he left the art room briefly, causing students to leave the closet and attempt to barricade the art room door, but he pushed the door open. So, of course, right now we got the 911 terrorist attacker, and that's like really huge for us right now in terms of resolving and restoration. So, when it comes to anything, like we're being mindful because of this terrorist attacker. So again, I repeat that. He left the art room, and this is, the 911 terrorist attacker. The 911 terrorist attacker left the art room briefly, causing students to leave the closet in an attempt to barricade the art room door, but he pushed the door open. Various types of explosive devices were found at the school and off campus, as well as a Molotov cocktail, and residents in the surrounding area were warned to be aware of all suspicious objects. So classmates recounted how at a water park the day before the shooting, the 911 terrorist attacker did not show any signs of his plans and seemed friendly and funny. On April 30th, the 911 terrorist attacker posted a photo of a shirt with the words "Born to Kill" on his Facebook page. The Facebook page has since been taken down. According to the statement, they were as shocked by the event as everyone else. While speaking to reporters, the 911 terrorist attacker's parent claimed that this son's history of being bullied was the reasoning behind the shooting. Under Texas law, guns cannot be made accessible to minors outside hunting or under parental supervision. And if broken, the penalty can be up to a year in jail and a $4,000 fine if the weapon causes serious injury or death. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said in press briefing that the attack was one of the most heinous attacks that we've ever seen in the history of Texas schools. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, I guess no kin to Danica Patrick, anyway, said the design of Texas schools with too many entrances and too many exits may have to be reconsidered. And that's all that we got on that. So evidently the 911 terrorist attacker was trying to have an art room. Yeah, didn't care who was in it. So anyway. And the 911 terrorist attackers victims in this May 18th shooting are Jared Conant Black, Shanna Fisher, Christian Riley Garcia, Aaron Cal McLeod, Glenda Ann Perkins, Angelique Ramirez, Sabika Sheik, Christopher Stone, Cynthia Tisdale, and Kimberly Vaughn, from 14 to 64 years old. Betsy DeVos, U.S. Secretary of Education at Ave Maria University in Ave Maria, Florida. What do you think she had to say about that? And Michael Keaton, actor and star of 2 Batman movies at Kent State University in Ohio, which he attended. What is his perspective on the 911 terrorist attacker trying to have Santa Fe, Texas? 1929, so we're going back. The future Queen Elizabeth II, then Princess Lilibet, at her 3rd birthday. In 1978, Prince Charles at his 30th birthday, as time wonders if he's fit to be king. And didn't I think I mentioned that the second showing of Invasion of the Body Snatchers was 1978? So inside Betty O'Rourke's bid to unseat Ted Cruz, the only brand to earn J.D. Power Dependability Awards for cars, trucks, and SUVs. The bed. To make things easier, we offer an olfactory education from the distinguished nose of Louis Vuitton and share the lowdown, the best and the worst from our fragrance fanatic. With a spare, elegant bottle design, these Vuitton fragrances look as good as they smell. Kim Petras, the German-born singer, will never please everyone, but that won't stop her from chasing her dreams of pop diva domination. While there are some conflicting reports, Petras is widely considered to be the youngest person to undergo gender confirmation surgery. While not to be undervalued, this milestone felt more like a stepping stone for Petras, who was always writing songs and dabbling in production around the age of 14. I'm a proud transgender person, she says, but I want to be known as a great artist. It's really frustrating when so many people think that because I'm transgender, I can't be mainstream. And it's always talk about being transgender. But that's the way the world works. Since she moved to Hollywood 6 years ago and rose to fame with the Dr. Luke produced Bop, I Don't Want It at All, she has discovered that marginalized communities, especially her own, want her to be absorbed into the pop landscape just like a cis diva would. Yet they also want her to draw attention to her transness, lest anyone forget the progress she represents. It's the kind of drama that landed her in hot water in March when the New York Times ran a profile of Petras using the quote, I don't care about being the first transgender teen idol at all. Actually, I care so much and I want to be a good face for my community, but I've also worked so hard to put out music and live my dream. Belting vocals that mix the rasp of Charlie XCX with the bubblegum pitch of Bonnie McKee. Petrus comes off as both a natural pop princess and a queer trailblazer. Kim Petras, the German-born singer, will never please everyone, but that won't stop her from chasing her dreams of pop diva domination. With her aching scalpel sharp debut album has become the patron saint of modern indie guitar rock. Michael Craig. Though he spent his youth trying to blend in, this newfound creative confidence inspired him to finally present himself the way he wanted. John Russell. I love directing, so I didn't feel like I was completely tied to having to be a musician, this front person for this band. The whole thing culminates in a dreamlike drag duet with performing alongside Pink. The pair bathed in the ethereal glow of a cocktail lounge spotlight before shoot films. I want there to be an underlying depth to it, something aching. It has to be weighted by an emotion that's deeper than just camp. Lauren Sanderson. When she first began pursuing a music career, the R&B singer would email venues under a fake name, pretending to be her manager. All that stuff, messaging venues, taking Greyhound buses, planning my tours, helped me to better understand how much work goes into this. But the need to be relentlessly positive eventually weighed on her. It's okay to be human. 12 trailblazing queer musicians shaking up our summer. Of them, by Michael Craig. It's what enables him to nail the details of the queer experience, be it via the maximalist frustrations of 2015's King, a UK number one, the unabashed joy of gently pulsating Shine, written about his past relationship with ex-Clean Bandit member Neil Amos Smith, or Meteorite, a song about bottoming that would wound up on the soundtrack to the Bridget Jones movie. The band's new second album, Palo Santo, heralded by the Timberland-esque strut of lead single, Sanctify, about a guy who identifies as straight but is hiding part of his sexuality, illuminates the way its members have since evolved. I don't think I'm meant to be an actor. Being a musician, I get to create the thing, sing the thing, be the director. I've always been fascinated by how a disguise or an outfit is a form of armor and protection against the cold and brutal world, he says, tongue slightly in cheek. What's great about being gay is that you can celebrate all types of sexualities because we understand that being queer means you might also be gender non-conforming or bi or whatever. Michael Martin. With his Cole Porter-esque stylings, it was a risk, as was his choice to be out of the closet when he released it, but he ended up with a hit that would launch his career. As told to Michael Martin, queer frontman for the B-52s, reflects on the band's first big single, Rock Lobster, a classic kooky surf rock ode to Monterey, jellyfish, and boys in bikinis. Back then, the band could jam for miles of tape and throw the best parts together. Rock Lobster got airplay on college and independent radio, but the bigger stations were told not to play us. I mean, our friends knew we were gay, and we weren't trying to be coy. John Cameron John Cameron Mitchell, All the Time by Barry Manilow. This month, John Waters' drag and numb opus Female Trouble gets a pristinely obscene restoration. A high school dropout and former Times Square hustler, went on to become one of the country's most radical and demonized artists, by Michael Martin. Vaguely World War II looking, silver and ovoid with long fins, it sat in a sunken pit of rubble while the bomb squad was called in. It comes after 600-page biography, Fire in the Belly, Drew Raves, and photography, videos, collage, painting, sculpture, music, and searing books of essays written as if and scribbled away on the West Side piers, left behind his own message to the future. He created two of the most iconic images of the AIDS crisis, his mouth sewn shut with blood seeping down his chin, and his face nearly covered by sand and gravel, as if he was being reclaimed by the earth. He had the courage to raise hell in a world where the bottom was dropping out, and in some of the most eloquent language imaginable. He also knew how to land a punch. If I die of AIDS, don't bother with burial, just dump my body on the steps of the FDA. He stenciled on the back of a denim jacket he wore to a protest. David expressed a sense that the majority government in America had turned their backs on people with AIDS because they found them largely undesirable and disposable, says filmmaker. People can relate to his rage and conviction because they are living through the dark times of a government that they feel does not care about them. But there was gobsmacking beauty throughout. And then this passage. When I put my hands on your body, on your flesh, I feel the history of that body, not just the beginning of its forming in that distant lake, but all the way beyond its ending. His journals and essays pierce the brain with incredible, powerful, sincere, poetic, and frank descriptions of what it was like to be a criminal outcast as a gay man in America. A preppy civil servant, wasn't into art, he says he still isn't, really. He just felt a powerful connection to this lanky type who was so ugly, he was beautiful. Toward the end of his life, became something of a right-wing chew toy. It was outrageous the way they buckled. This is really a profoundly important work to show both the banality and everydayness of sex. But they're also about the real importance of maintaining sexuality at the height of a time when sex was really being denied. A really fervent embrace of sexuality despite everything, or because of everything. In 13 years, he left behind 6 books, enough work that the show was stretched to 120 pieces and ultimately a type of playbook for surviving the Trump era. To me, David is the classic American hero who has written a screenplay based on Fire in the Belly. This is a guy that had the most brutal, abusive childhood you could possibly imagine. His life ended tragically, but to me, he's always been a symbol of hope and strength. Continues, despite being born into a world that didn't want him, grabbed something inside him that said, not only am I going to be an artist, but I'm going to be a mirror to how the world treats its outsiders. Ask to be tested. The only way to know for sure if you are being tested for HIV is to ask to be tested. And nowadays they have it where, you don't have to they don't have to take your blood. They can just swap your mouth, your tongue, your saliva, or your spit, and test you right there. Brandon Presser, don't get us wrong. We love the traceability and accountability is brought to the plate, but we're more curious about far-flung flavors and how they're carving out a significant presence in American dining. Have we finally graduated from the reductive Pan-Asian restaurant, or even worse, Panda Express, to a more nuanced understanding of the broad canon of dishes from other countries? The best tactic is to get someone in the door is to tempt them with something they know or something that sounds familiar, like bulgogi sliders. I guess you know what the sliders are. You don't know what bulgogi is, but you know what it's going to be if it's a slider. In my keiseki, a traditional multi-course dinner, I bend to the ingredient and allow it to shine. New Hawaiian cuisine is redefining fusion. It's not just a halfway point between the US and Asia. We can weave together Burmese, Japanese, and Italian, and it still makes sense and it's delicious. Brandon Presser. Behind the Rainbow Curtain. For the badass, Westwood. And those are 2 of the 18 things you should be talking about right now. So, do people still act surprised when you stretch beyond traditional comedy? Traditional comedy. I haven't really explored like where I've been, what I've like me in traditional comedy versus non-traditional comedy. I really have not explored that, because I really haven't explored myself as a comedian. Just, certain things that are funny to me that I find to be humorous, but haven't really coined it with traditional versus non-traditional. Because I think when it comes down to it, comedy, like even though like I took some chunks of Eddie Murphy's Raw and like kind of explore comedy, um, I think comedy is really an art form, like anything else, and it has certain elements that, people look, that people that have went to school, took classes on how to learn how to be a comedian, that they, kind of, or comedy class and acting curriculum that I guess are supposed to be there. Um, Sorry seems to be the easiest word. So that word has, let's see, so you got Sierra has a version. I think Justin Bieber has a version. Beyonce has a version. So that's three. And then there's the sorry is all that I can say. It goes something like that, and then that's a version. Sorry seems to be the easiest word. True bromance. After it became the undisputed darlings of the 2018 Winter Olympics and Pyeongchang, they returned home to internet fame and a queer community embracing them as heroes. The story totally touched my heart and takes me back to when I was in Moscow and I came out to my mom and dad when I was 17, said Bagdasarian. May look stunning posing poolside and stylish does, but stories like this one are the reason the duo became the de facto PR team for gay athletes at this year's games. All right, so we might can go into UN news now. So Harry found a Markle Marian, but is this controversy regarding him being the Prince William? And you know, and having to be with the first Megan. So it's that whole controversy. It's not about trying to take anybody's man or trying to, whatever. It's just, about him being the Prince Harry, that he is entitled, that it's his right to have the first Megan versus the second Megan. And so the first Megan is Meghan Trainor. So there's that, those type of things, those type of political things that people go through. And it's not just what royalty faces, but, a lot of people face those type of political things. Like, well, if this is this and this is what the prince is supposed to have, well, then, what's supposed to what's supposed to happen in this situation? Like, why is it not this? Like, what's going on that caused this situation to happen if this is true? or since this is true. So we are now not in technical difficulties with the UN news, and we're going to see what's going on. So, while global population movements grab headlines, a quiet revolution tiptoes in the background, dramatically changing our world, the great migration of humanity into cities. From just 746 million in 1950, the world's urban population has ballooned to over 4 billion today. So, it's talking about population, and one thing I was asking, there's this, what happened to the baby boom? When there's a baby boom, does that mean that in order for there to be a baby boom, that there's a reciprocal, and it might have a term, I came across something about it, but there's like an opposite effect where there's a lot of loss, so there's a lot of death, but it's because there's about to be a baby boom. So we have baby alive, and we are like, oh, baby alive is here. But it's like, we just lost Marquita, we just lost Antonio Jr., we just lost Kate Spade. So it's like, okay, one, it's like, okay, there's preparation, and then babies are rest and kids are rest until the rest are closing. Okay, so one, there's a preparation for a really large baby boom, but then it's like, yeah, 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 we want, but then it's like, there's that other part where it's like, there's a 911 terrorist attacker, there's like the court judge and rules of engagement, there's the circuit court judge in the city of Petersburg, Judge Dennis Martin Sr., there's Angelina Jolie, there's Jennifer Aniston, there's like whoever else, there's still, like all of this, like there's like yay, but then there's all of the loss in it too. So it's like, does it always have to happen that way? And I haven't researched it because I'm only recall one baby boom being advertised, and there wasn't a, not that they would, but there wasn't an advertisement of like, I don't want to say like the death boom, there's, in order to have a baby boom, there has to be a death boom too, or, like I don't know, a death toll versus with the baby boom, that, like a lot of people have to die for that baby boom to happen, baby boom, there's like a whole bunch of babies being born at the same time, you know, um, so, I just find that to be like kind of, like, is it, you know, anyway. So back to this and talking about the population has ballooned to over 4 billion today. And there's a difference, when it's like God's babies, like there's like a big difference. And when it's God's babies, is that associated with, the people that were, I don't want to say extremists, but those that's willing to go out for God, and that's willing to die for God, like was being shown in rules of engagement with Yemen and those citizens. Like they were willing to, even the little kids were willing to just shoot and bang, 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 just pop and pop, 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 to for God, and for God's security. Just willing to do that. So some of those people that I named, don't got the weight that those in rules of engagement, offenders, violators, my bad, that like the rules of engagement had. But it's like, it's like that flip flop. Like, do they have to not be the ones like in rules of engagement, for it to be? Anyway, back to this. By 2030, 6 of every 10 people will be an urban inhabitant. By 2050, it may be 2 out of 3. Since the 1990s, migration has been the primary source of population growth in the developed regions as a whole. For the benefits of international migration to be maximized and widely shared, countries should introduce regulations and policies to facilitate safe, orderly, and regular migration. So the current upturn in global economy increases our chances of footing that bill, but steady sources of funding over the next 12 years, come rain or shine, must be guaranteed to achieve the SDGs by 2030. So I do recognize that being whoever we are, the missing prince, the missing United Nations, that there are a lot of things that were put in it. Finance ministers and other high-level officials from around the world will meet in New York between 23rd and 26th April to find ways to secure stable funding for the 2030 agenda. This will be the third UN Economic and Social Council, or ECOSOC, forum on financing for development. So you're wondering, okay, how can a prince be able to be the Secretary General? Those type of things. The forum will build on the 2018 report by the Interagency Task Force on Financing for Development, led by the ambassadors of Jamaica and Portugal. Member states will use the Financing for Development Forum to negotiate concrete action in 7 areas of Addis agenda. The forum will be preceded by the SDG Investment Fair on 22nd April, which will make the business case for investing in sustainable development and stimulate dialogue between the world of business and governments. So, again, like the whole relevancy of losing an Antonio Jr. during this time, so it's like, it's really funny when they're like, oh, we weren't trying to, we weren't trying to do this, we weren't trying to do this, but then, it's like, okay, I know where you live. Kate Spade get hang on Park Avenue. She just happens to be, it just happened to happen on Park Avenue. We lose Marquita, and then Antonio Jr. And Antonio just happens, Antonio just happens to be the Secretary General of the United Nations right now from Portugal, but no one's talking about that. And Antonio just happened to get killed on Locust Court, and we just happen to be in court with this situation right now with regards to the L word. It just happens, but it's not connected. It was some random, what do you call those people, gangbanger. Yeah, and again, Antonio just happens to be the Secretary General of the United Nations right now. But I can hear you, and I can make a decision, and I'm the judge. So all of this is in April. So I guess another thing that was put here with regards to financing, and there's this goal of 2020, which, like it's 2018 right now. We only got a few more months in 2018. 2020 is, like right around the corner. And I know there will be a push, like, I see, like ideally it needs to be in it in 2020. Ideally, but that's like a couple of years now. And you got this case with Antonio Jr., dying, and what else? Um, and his relevancy, the baby boy, is still like, oh, we're still fans of Taraji Henson, and she can still be an empire as Cookie, and there was something else. Oh, the restriction of a Secretary General being from any of the states, any of the whatever the 5 or 6 of them are, which includes the United States. So there's all of those controversies or complexities. Like another thing I guess that we got is taxes. So like in ours, even though I've been doing it, regular everyday citizens, we don't really charge them taxes like that, like under a certain salary. So they really don't pay taxes. But when you reach a certain salary, when you reach a certain income, then that's when you pay taxes in ours. And in ours, you pay taxes when it comes to business, you pay taxes. But just everyday citizens paying personal property taxes on their cars and, and homes or whatever, like, and food and merchandise, that's really kind of unheard of to us, like honestly. And I'm having technical difficulties right now, but that's like a really big thing that's in ours. Our taxes. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense that the more income you have, that part of that responsibility, like Oprah, is one person that would be paying taxes. Wendy Williams would not. So it's like, one of those things that Oprah says, like when much is given, much is expected. And it kind of makes sense that when you're a certain income that you kind of do things like that, that pay taxes, that contributes to other people, that's not in your income range, and if it helps them to get there, then they become one of those people that pays taxes, So it's kind of one of those things, but I do it because, that's just how it is, right? But, in reality, that's not who we are financially. And I really would like to go more and on about that, but we're having more technical difficulties right now, so you're gonna have to stop with the UN news. Yeah. So I think when it comes to taking out money for like Social Security and things like that, that's a little different, because it's not really a tax, I don't think. It's more like a contribution. But all the other ones would not cease to exist. But I guess maybe what happened is, maybe somewhere along the line, businesses felt, like some business person started advocating, like somebody just started got this bright idea that we could save a lot of money if we ask we provide this business or we provide this service, we provide these products to the community for them to consume, and we could save a lot of money if they help us with the tax. So why don't we sell the people, the citizens, paying taxes so that then we could use the money from the taxes that they pay to offset the taxes that we have to pay. That is like the most brilliant idea like ever. Even if it has no basis in um, you know, legitimate business practices. So sorry, that's it for UN News now. We'll pick it back up maybe next time. Yeah. So we're gonna go to the book, and we might have time to finish, and maybe it'll stop. We can go back into some more UN news. But the book again, we got Alvin. Familiar with Alvin? Alvin and the Chipmunks with his adorable chipmunks, Simon and Theodore. And so we're like Cupid, or I don't know, the love connection. And well, Jane H didn't work out, because he kind of went out in species, and she just didn't have it. So we are at Jane Fonda, who is, as you know, into fitness, or Jane Goodall, who was recruited with no experience to go work with the chimpanzees. Now, I mean, they're like really up there because we love, how we love fitness. But Jane Goodall is a Goodall, and she has experience with chimpanzees. So we don't know. But again, Love Connection, it didn't get to 3, but we have 2. Yay! Alvin! Okay, so this is Jane Fonda. I've seen the bad things that can happen to a person physically and emotionally when he or she is not properly informed. This can make the focus seem to be on the negatives, the dangers of sex, and how to avoid them. However, most experts on sexuality in adolescence to teenage years think it is a mistake to focus just on the negatives and not talk about communication, relationships, and how beautiful and exciting sexuality can be. There is no evidence that talking about the realities of sex encourages a person to have sexual intercourse. Some provide information about the body, birth control, and STIs. And that was, oh, wait a minute, backing on up. Many schools offer classes about sexuality and the changing teen body. Some provide information about the body, birth control, and STIs. And that was Jane Fonda, September 2013. Now for the forward by Melissa KOTTKE, who's not just an MD, but an MPH and an MBA. Hundreds of thousands of people have benefited from the education and training delivered by these organizations. Thanks to the work that Jane has spearheaded regarding teen pregnancy in Georgia, our state has witnessed declines in teen birth at a rate that is among the highest in the country. Wow, she's about to eliminate her right there. At first, I was a bit intimidated to meet her, but that feeling faded quickly as Jane and I talked about what motivated us both, giving young people the information and tools they needed to navigate the transition to adulthood safely and healthily. And again, I need to stop there because right now, like not only being fitness based, but being ID based, and we got a Michelle Trigger right now that is on paper as representing whatever her name is. The one that got Kill Bill. So there are some Michelles that we don't go in because of Michelle trigger. In Being a Teen, Jane covers every topic young people need to know about, from puberty to bullying and beyond. Additional resources for more information are provided throughout the book, frequently at the end of the chapter. She also presents the building blocks toward understanding oneself and beginning down the path of incorporating one's sexuality in a healthy and positive manner. Yet, this is also a time when there are so many pressures to be how others want you to be. You may be tempted to be different from who you really are so that you'll be popular with a certain group or seem cool. I also write about the media and culture because they too can influence your identity and not always for the good. Here are the key ideas I hope you learn from this book. Number one, this is the time in your life when you should begin to really know who you are as a person, who you want to be, what values you claim for yourself. Flipping to topics of particular interest to you is fine, and I structured the book that way. By that, I mean having a sense of your own value, starting to have a sense of what your strengths and weaknesses are, feeling that your actions accurately reflect who you are, not just things you do because other people want you to or just to please yourself. Puberty is the biological part of the early adolescent years and when the sexual and reproductive systems start to mature. Your teen years begin at age 13 and end around 19 or 20, when you have a completely adult body, though not yet a completely adult brain. The fine development of your brain, the really important part in the front of your brain that handles decision making and planning, won't be complete for a few more years, around ages 24 or 25. That's weird. So it's like if your brain is not completely formed until 24 or 25, should you be having sex under 24? I mean, under 24. Like your brain isn't complete according to this. So you can't how can you make a complete decision about what you want to do with your body and who you want to do it with? During early puberty, a person's thoughts are likely to be mainly about what is happening right at the moment, not what might happen someday, what is known as concrete thinking. In puberty, it's common to begin to think more about things such as your future. Maybe you've begun to examine the values and beliefs that you've been brought up with. Because you are just getting to know who you are, it's easy to be influenced by what others think of you, classmates, teachers, coaches. It's a good time to appreciate who you really are instead of what others want you to be. What kind of person are you, or do you want to be? I didn't ask what you wanted to do in your life, brother. My question is about your being. How would you like to be in the world? Write down the things you like to be, and from time to time, think about whether or not your actions, the friends you choose, and the things you do are contributing to your becoming this person or continuing to be this person. Is my little ad note. All right. So, they may not be nice people, or they may just be having a bad time themselves. Everyone in the world has times of self-doubt, but this is a good time to learn ways to begin to overcome self-doubts and raise your self-esteem. This probably means that underneath their cocky, I'm the best attitude, they don't really have a lot of confidence. Now is a good time to begin to notice when you feel stressed and cranky. Starting about a half hour before you want to go to bed and get those 9 to 10 hours. Begin to relax, listen to soothing music, do things that you find calming. Rough housing right before bedtime will be fun, but it won't help you get ready to sleep. A lot of how we feel about ourselves is influenced by our culture. So it's important to become more aware of what the culture you live in is and how it might affect you. You can't always see it, but culture is what tells us, and our parents and friends, how men and women, boys and girls are supposed to be, look, and act. Some of what you see and hear in the media is wonderful, but some of it is not so good, especially in terms of the messages it sends about gender roles, how women and men are supposed to be. Much of the media is created by people and corporations' main goal is to make money, and the ideas they put across may or may not be the right ideas for you. Probably not. So, this is a good time to think about who you are, who you want to be, and what the media is telling you to be. So, I kind of I don't know, the media is just so really weird, So, um, sometimes it can be like a mirror and it, is what is something that you need to put out of your life, like some toxic violator, or it's something about you that you really need to change, and sometimes it can be just really good guidance. This is the time in your life when you begin to develop a gender identity. They may be transsexual, transgender, androgynous, having characters of both masculine and feminine at the same time, or still questioning their identity. Unfortunately, our mainstream culture will make that especially challenging for them by excluding them or unfairly portraying those who don't fit into boy or girl categories. Whether you're a girl, boy, trans, questioning, or androgynous, you probably want to be liked to have friends. What happens to many girls at puberty when their bodies are developing and they become more aware of what girls are supposed to be like is often described as the loss of her true authentic self. Can you think of some way that the culture tries to make you hide or betray who you really are in order to be what the culture suggests you should be? Can you think of some way that the culture tries to make you hide or betray who you really are in order to be what the culture suggests you should be? So I've, said that, no matter what the situation is, you should always be who you are. But sometimes that includes, you know, like me growing up in security and growing up in law and, growing up with, in terms of character being the focus, in terms of actors, sometimes being who you are includes that as well. Like being who you are in security, being who you are in character, being who you are in protection. Even if it's different from, even if that is different from, um, like an example, you may be who you are in security in a suit, but you may actually be a tennis shoe and jeans wearing person. Um, but the situation calls for you being who you are in a suit. So it's kind of like that. I don't necessarily think that culture have you that's hiding or betraying who you really are. But sometimes certain situations like me being kidnapped and having to grow up decades in that situation, you I had to be who I was in security. That looked a certain way, and fashion that looked a certain way, and a lot of different things. Starting now, don't waste time being anything other than your authentic, true self. And that's because, it's like you you get the you still have that of being yourself, and you still have that protection of not allowing an offender or a violator that's not worthy of interacting with your with who you really are. Outside of that, you still have that protection. So it's kind of like that. But it happens to many girls, and it's important to be aware of it. Our culture can make a girl start feeling pressure to be sexy. How do you want to be loved? Later, I learned to ask myself, do you want to be loved? Do you want an image of yourself to be loved? All of us want to be popular, to have friends. But you are at a time in your development where you need to decide, is it worth abandoning your true self in order to be super popular? Or is it better to be true to who you are, even if it means you may not be the most popular girl in your class? Notice that the values at this stage of your life seem to be way too much about the outside instead of the inside, where it really counts. So I mentioned that, being the real Megan, that, the controversy between Prince Harry being the prince and being entitled, having the entitlement to the first Megan versus, one that could qualify for a second Megan, such as Meghan Markle, and that, of her being in, a popular recording artist. So it's like, yes, I'm popular, but no, it's like, I don't want to say unfortunately, but fortunately, you know, unbeknownst to me, it just kind of happened that popular got delegated to somebody else. So it's like, in the big scheme of things, like, my umbrella includes popular, but specifically directly responsible for popular is not my direct responsibility. Um, that's not one of the things you control, even though you're like the real Megan. You have this industry, most of these songs are considered to be popular, or this artist is considered popular. It's just kind of one of those things. In 5 or 6 years at the start of their formal schooling, boys may have begun to receive messages from the mainstream culture that cause them to lose touch with their feelings. It may have been from parents, teachers, a coach, or the media that boys got messages about what it takes to be a real man, such as "Don't be a sissy." And I'm thinking about RuPaul's song "Sissy That Walk." These are the messages that can make you start to act in the way that you think a man is supposed to be. Maybe not who you really are. A mainstream cultural message to boys is that it's manly to bully people who are different, perhaps people who are smaller, unathletic, unconventional looking, nerdy, vulnerable, or poor. Or they feel that they have to bully to be popular. They make it easier to be happy, survive hardships, and enjoy life. Make a list of all the messages you have received about what it means to be a man. Some examples are to be brave, macho, tough, a leader, in control, to never walk away from a fight, not to cry, not to let others see your needs, to be a team player, and more. Maybe it's important to learn to look inside yourself, see the good person you are, and then to see the difference between those good qualities and some of the not so good qualities on your list. So those things about being a man. That's kind of like, I'm not saying that's the reason Prince died, but all I can say is that it doesn't help. Being Prince, it doesn't help when society's perspective of, Prince is that it's a man, I, and that's all that keeps getting attempted to be fair. Like it doesn't help. Again, I'm not saying that's why he died because of all of that, but it just doesn't help, you know. But then you have something to say when, it's like, Princess Tiana wanna call me up. She's a princess. The princess goes with the prince. Yeah. Then you have something to say when, you know, like I get a shout out from Blue for Happy Father's Day from Beyonce. Then there's something to say. You got something to say then. Boys are not better than girls, just as girls are not better than boys. Now is the time in your development when you need to become aware of aspects of mainstream culture that are disrespectful and dehumanizing and not let them influence you. Boys who remain sensitive, emotional, and kind to girls may be teased and called names and may lose some of their female friends too. But you're entering a time in your life when you are beginning to define your identity, your values as a person, as a man. They can walk away from a bully instead of being obliged to fight back. They can do all these things and still be masculine. Do you believe that you need to be sexier or to have sex to be popular and fit in? In reality, sex can be, and I already responded to that by saying that, popular is it's a part of my umbrella, but it's not direct. So, why would I answer that question? In reality, sex can be a beautiful experience, but the media distorts it, blows it out of proportion in order to manipulate you into watching a particular movie or TV show, buying something that you think will make you sexier, more popular, trying to be like somebody you see in magazines, on TV, or in the movies. It's in your best interest to avoid being tricked by the media. And so I'm not going to even say the media is trying to trick you. It's just, whoever that media rep is in their growing process too. So it's like choosing that as your news person or choosing that as your source. It's like you're going through that process too. So whatever they have access to, it's kind of like, whatever's in their upbringing, whatever's in their training, it's kind of like that. So it's not necessarily that they're trying to trick you or that, this is that or trying to have you, be a part of killing Prince, killing the artist formerly known as Prince. But it's like, maybe they were just raised in their upbringing as, that's all that existed to them, like king, the king and the prince, they're always male. The nurse is always female. So it's like choose who you support in media and your media differently. So you won't be like, oh my gosh, what did I done? What have I done? And you're like, I loved him, he was awesome. But did you? Did you really? Really, did you? Moving on. Still in being a teen. You risk learning from porn how to be in a sexual relationship, what is sexy, how to look and act. Don't confuse the impersonal stage behaviors you see there with how sexuality ought to be in real life, loving, intimate, and mutually satisfying. So it's funny that comes up because the person who got delegated popular to, remember I said that it's not me directly, it's under the umbrella. Someone else has it directly. That person that got delegated popular to, who was delegated it, we were both molested with regards to porn, by this 911 terrorist attacker. And I don't know if because it happened at the residence. And mind you, she had no idea that I was kidnapped. She had no idea that she was in a home and the kidnapper was attempting to claim residence. And her family actually lived in the same neighborhood, but on another side of the neighborhood, which they have since moved. She has since moved out of the state. They have since moved from that neighborhood. But I don't even know if she told her parents, that she was molested there, that we were molested there. I don't even know if she ever said anything to them about it. We haven't even talked about it. But that's she got delegated, from that situation. Like, even when you don't talk about things, that's why some things happen. It just happened. What happened was she got delegated popular, and most of these popular artists that's out there, popping, is probably, blasting on that molestation that occurred on the floor in the living room of the 911 terrorist attacker. Until it's resolved, it's like, what else can you do? Like, what else can you focus on until it's laid to rest? Calling things by their proper names helps you to honor and own them. So it's like, going back to that before we go on, it's like basically, unfortunately, it was a situation where it was already guilty. If it showed up in my life, whoever was in it was already guilty, because it just wasn't supposed to happen, and that's why we got all these, fake, corrupt cops. And I try not to use the word cop because I actually like that word, like, even though it's like slang, let's cop these shoes, let's cop that, but I actually like that word. So I try not to use cop, I kind of put it with corrupt, or, whatever it is, nasty, or whatever it is. But, I still kind of keep the word cop when it comes to officer. But yeah, it's just like the truth really does set you free. Because the situation is like, yeah, it was what it was from day one, that you attempted to go from to kidnap and transport from here to there. It was already guilty and already had a sentence, and you did not have gone in it, and there was no enforcement to resolve it, and a lot of stuff went out because of it, to just where you just can't, these offenders can't get out of it because of that. It's like you would have to, so now you want to take out every popular pop artist in the world because you got caught and you got it like that. I'm like, what's that roughing guy that got gunned down on Harlem Street? We got Tanya Harding. Like, meet me on Harlem Street. You're not guilty. Meet me on Harlem Street at that corner, whatever that street is, and let's see how innocent you are there. 911 terrorist attacker, since you are that. Hormones are made by different glands in your body that are part of the body's endocrine system. Hormones act as messengers that travel through the bloodstream from these glands. By raising and lowering the levels of various hormones at different times, the endocrine system controls the body's functions and makes sure that they run together smoothly. The body has many kinds of hormones. With puberty and because of all the new hormones that are being produced, the penis, testicles, and scrotum begin to grow. Because the bottom line is, if we get into these body parts, if you're not guilty, then you shouldn't have a problem meeting me on Hart Street then. You know, since you were never hard, since you didn't try to rape nothing, since you didn't try to molest nobody, then you should be all right on Hart Street, right? Then you should have, the Ruffins. Then you should have them on Hart Street, right? They don't want to pop you in your head, right? At the tip of the glands or head is the uteral opening, through which urine passes out of the body. The foreskins of some boys are removed right after birth in a procedure called circumcision. If you let smegma, what kind of word is that? Smegma? Okay, I gotta look that up. I've never heard of a word called smegma. I'm like, definition, smegma. I'm being search. So, okay, so a penis or whatever comes up, and it's like a sebaceous secretion in the folds of the skin under a man's foreskin. Now, okay, so if you're not circumcised, do you still have foreskin? Is that like a stupid question? A sebaceous secretion in the folds of the skin, especially under a man's foreskin. So it's not an actual, it's a secretion, smegma. Anyhow. Okay. If you let smegma build up under your foreskin, it can start to smell bad. So if this smegma, this secretion builds up, like I guess if you don't wash, or like I guess they're like, okay, if you have sex with one person, and you go have sex with another, you have sex with one person, and then you have sex again with that person without showering or wiping, it can start to smell bad. The glands and foreskin lining are very sensitive, and soap might irritate it. So it doesn't specifically say that that has anything to do with the smegma in that sentence, but it's just saying that the lining of the foreskin and the glands that is very sensitive and soap might irritate them. So is that like an excuse to not wash there? So if the soap's gonna irritate you if you wash there, how do you resolve the solution? How do you resolve the problem of it smelling bad? I'm just saying. How do you do that? Anyway, moving on. Years ago, doctors recommended circumcision for all baby boys because they believed that it prevented or cured some diseases. Because the sperm inside the testes are sensitive to heat, they must be kept several degrees cooler than the temperature of the body, or they will die. Oh my gosh. It says the sperm inside the testes are sensitive to heat. They must be kept several degrees cooler than the temperature of the body. Wait a minute. The sperm inside the testes are supposed to be kept cooler than the body or they will die. Like, okay, I can't wrap my mind around that right now. So if the testes get too warm, the scrotum hangs farther down from the body to help cool them off. So like the scrotum is like a natural it's like a natural fan for the sperm. That is funny. Oh my gosh. You know, the scrotum hangs down farther from the body and it like cools it down. So it's like the fan keeps you cool. Maybe that's why I say like I'm my significant other's only fan. And then I get to this sentence. It's so funny. Oh me. I guess I'm like that, like, shooting. Like, oh, really, you wanna rape mine? You wanna rape mine? Pow pow. Or not, on the L word with the girls. My bachelorette party, calling like, oh, what? Like, yeah, we're about to have a bachelorette party. Peace out. Anyhow, if they get too cold, muscles in the scrotum pull them closer to the body to warm up. Oh man. And then it's like its own little heater. This look is funny. Oh man, this is funny. Okay. Because you're like questioning, like, well, isn't the body the same temperature? If you're cold, isn't like your whole body cold? Or if you're warm, isn't your whole body cold? Isn't your whole body warm? So you just like, oh, so you're like, your temperature is off. So it's like inside this little thing, you're cold, but it's like warm. So inside this little thing, you're warm and it's like cold. So you're not like 100%. Really? Oh, me. That is funny. Is that what it is? I'm all about the Benjamins, baby. What? I'm all about the Benjamins, baby. I'm all about the Benjamins, baby. Get it? Because it's like the $100 bill. Anyway. Oh man. In both females and males, the anus is the small entrance to the rectum, through which bowel movements, also called feces, stool, or poop, leave the body. Okay, so the rectum is not the entrance. That's not the rectum. Okay. So the anus is the entrance, and the surrounding parts is the rectum. So the surrounding parts of the anus is the rectum, and the anus is the entrance of both males and females. And so the feces, stool, and poop leave through the anus, which is the entrance to the rectum. Oh. Unlike the female body, which has 3 openings from front to back, the urethra, the vagina, and the anus, the male body, and I'm pronouncing it vagina. In the anus, the male body has 2 openings, the one at the penile tip, the urethra, and the other at the anus. At different times, the semen might be any color from white to clear, and it can be thick or thin. Ejaculation is when the muscles pump the semen down the hollow urethral tube and out of the end of the penis, releasing about a teaspoon of fluid. Okay, so the female has a urethra. No, the female has a urethra. So is it urethral as well as the urethral tubing of the penis? So does fluid goes through the urethral aspect of the female as well? By the way, an erection can but doesn't have to end with ejaculation. It can be a beautiful, exciting, loving act that gives pleasure to both partners, even if they are not planning to make a baby. Once a month in an adult woman, an egg leaves the ovary and goes into the fallopian tube. The ripe egg is swept down the tube by tiny hairs as it heads for the uterus. If a sperm has reached the uterus and enters the egg within 24 hours of when the egg left the ovary, oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! If a sperm has reached the uterus and enters the egg, so the sperm is going down. I think that's what it said. So the sperm, no, is sperm the same as semen? Is semen the same as sperm? But either way, the sperm reaches the uterus, enters the egg within 24 hours. So, okay, so imagine the egg leaving the ovary and then the sperm trying to run after it, trying to chase it, because I have 24 hours to get there. But then on the way, the sperm gets thirsty, the sperm gets hungry. The sperm wants to stop for, gotta fill up the tank because it ran out of gas. But I gotta get there in 24 hours. Or it's not gonna happen. So when the egg leaves the ovary, the sperm has to reach that egg in 24 hours to fertilize it. Fertilization takes place, the egg becomes planted in the uterus, and what do you know? A fetus will begin to grow. So if the egg is not fertilized, it breaks down and flows out of the woman's body together with blood and tissue. Oh my gosh. That doesn't sound too good. So that make it sound like anytime the sperm attempts to fertilize your egg but doesn't make it, the woman that that you're gonna have a period. That doesn't sound too good for me. That doesn't sound too good. Oh, that doesn't sound too good. That doesn't sound right. Does that sound right? When it says, if the egg is not fertilized, it breaks down and flows out of the woman's body together with blood and tissue. So it's like if the egg is swept, if the egg leaves the ovary and goes into no, that's ovulation. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Once a month. So we're talking about once a month, it leaves the ovary, goes into the fallopian tube. So they're saying, okay, well, so they have once a month to try to get you pregnant. So I was like, oh God. So my goal is to stop your menstrual cycle. I want to stop it. I'm that stop sign. I want to stop that red stop sign. That is my goal and mission in life. And I have 24 hours from the time that egg leaves your ovary to make it happen. And if I don't make it happen, you have your period. But if I make it happen, the period is not gonna happen. funny. Funny, funny, funny. You know, for a minute there, it started sounding quite more interesting. Like, you know, I might be on board, you know, because sometimes, you know, you're just like, you know, I've grown to really, really appreciate that time in the month for a woman, you know. But, you know, I've had one time in my life where I didn't have it for 3 months and I was totally not missing it at all. You know, so I'm like almost like I was kind of on board there for a minute. I'm like, oh my gosh, come on, we gotta make it, we gotta not let this happen. You know, oh my gosh, okay, maybe next one. Come on, you got 24, you know, we gotta keep practicing, you gotta keep practicing. 24 hours, you gotta get in there, you gotta make it happen, you gotta reach it, you gotta make it happen. Don't stop, don't stop. Because we gotta stop it. I can't be on it this month. I have things to do. And like for a minute, I'm like on board. Like on board there for a minute with you. All right. Hormones are made by different glands in your body that are part of its endocrine system. So now we get into the endocrine system. Hormones act as messengers that travel through the bloodstream from these glands. So hormones are supposed to be the messengers that travel, and they travel by not fluid, not the little semen, not heat, not those little warm sperms, but they're traveling by blood from these glands. By raising and lowering the levels of various hormones at different times, the endocrine system controls the body's function and makes sure that they run together smoothly. The body has many kinds of hormones. It is normal for everyone to be different. Some girls may have been taught that it is wrong to look at their genitals or to touch them except when using the toilet. As you grow, the hair will become thicker, darker, and curlier, and the mons will thicken and may stick out more. Okay, I don't know about you, but I don't know what the heck mons are, but I'm gonna find out. Definition, we're on Bing, mons, M-O-N-S. Let's see. As if it would be that interesting. I'm coming up with a city and municipality. So you mean to tell me I have something in my female genitals that's a city, a municipality? Also, you want to go there? And the population is over 90,000? Really? Okay, let's see. And I still can't find the definition of it as it relates to this. Okay, so mons pubis. I guess you use short mons for short. It is tissue anterior. This sounds so complicated. Why can't you just give it to me straight? Tissue, fibro adipose tissue anterior to the vulva, which overlies the symphysis pubis. In human anatomy, is a rounded mass of fatty tissue found over the pubic symphysis of the pubic bones. So if I'm not fat, I don't have any. Anyhow, that's what it says. Fatty tissue near the pubic bone. Okay, so you may have some hair called pubic hair over your mons. Labia vary in color from pale pink to brownish black, depending largely on your race, ethnicity, and age. The labia vary in color. I tell you, that gives you a totally different perspective. Have you seen any females like, up close with like their stuff hanging out? Yeah, especially like porn stars, like they have really, I don't know if it's because they really had sex with a lot of different people. Well, it just now it's just hanging. It's not on the inside anymore. It's just out and it's just like hanging, like waving, like hey, my name is. Hello, my name is. Like it gives you a totally different perspective to seeing that animation movie inside out. So like me being the mental health fitness geek that I am, I'm like viewing it like that. Like I'm in a room full of porn stars. Like it's called Inside Out, baby. So let's watch. Oh me, I'm so hilarious sometimes. Anyway, anyhow. Let's see. These are glands that begin to produce a small amount of oil during puberty. I don't know. Maybe because I like to make it complicated for someone to try to I'll watch the movie with her. Like, I don't think people really think like that. But I mean, I'm just like, I like a very unique experience. So, being the mental health fitness geek that I am, I'm like, not too many people can sit and watch Inside Out from that perspective of it just hanging out inside out. Not like who can do that really? So I like a very unique experience. So these are glands that begin to produce a small amount of oil during puberty to moisten the area so that it does not get irritated. It is protected by the clitoral hood, a fold of skin that covers it and that you may have to pull up in order to see it. What you are actually looking at is the tip of the clitoris, which has a shaft that extends into the body. The first opening below the clitoris is to the urethra. The urethra is not a sex organ, but the tube that carries urine from the bladder where it is stored out of the body. Urine is the liquid waste left over from food and drink that the body does not use. In females, urine is the only fluid that travels through this tube. Okay. Okay, so they making that clear that through the female urethra, even though what was it, the semen or whatever, it's the same semen and sperm. I asked that again. But with the female, urine is the only fluid that goes through that way. The vagina is a stretchy muscular passageway that connects the uterus, a sexual and reproductive organ inside the female body, to the outside. Like a balloon, the vagina can enlarge enormously during childbirth. During sexual intercourse, the male penis fits into the vagina, and it does, and when a baby is born, the flexible vaginal muscles help push it out. So I mentioned that I bought Lamaze and that I got it pierced me a little bit where I'm like, oh, I think I want to take my little Lamaze. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna say what it is. I want to take my little Lamaze and go to a Lamaze class and actually be a participant, versus, that. Today, because girls tend to be very active, the hymen has usually torn before they have sexual intercourse. The hymen is then broken during intercourse when the penis enters the vagina. As I said, it is too common for the hymen. Okay, the hymen. Phyllis hymen. Okay, what is the hymen again? Phyllis hymen. Is Phyllis hymen? Let me look that up. Phyllis hymen. She's still a. Let's see, Phyllis hymen. Phyllis Hyman passed, actually. She overdosed, is what it says here. Yeah, that's what it says. Pentobarbital and secobarbital in New York. They actually have the address 211 West 56th Street. She was found unconscious at 2 p.m. hours before she was to perform at the Apollo Theater. Her suicide note: I'm tired. I'm tired. Those of you that I love know who you are. May God bless you. Was the note. That is what it says. She was 45 years old. She died in the hospital. So evidently she was not dead at 211 West 56th Street. She was unconscious in an overdose state. She died at the hospital, St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital. So what is a hymen? It is a membrane. It partially closes the opening of the vagina, and its presence is traditionally taken to a mark of virginity. So I guess just saying it's there. You're a virgin. If it's not, you're not. And it partially closes the opening of the vagina. Now, I don't know if that's why Phyllis if she was having trouble in that one, because they kept putting hymen with hymen, and the whole virgin thing. And let's check out some of her songs that she did in it. She was 45. She had discography and filmography. She was in School Days, Lenny, Too Scared to Scream, Soda Cracker, and The Kill Reflex. And then her discs, she did one in Phyllis Hyman. She actually came out with her first album the year I was born. Sang a song, Somewhere in My Lifetime. You Know How to Love Me, Can't We Fall in Love Again? God Is a Love, They're Not Alone, Prime of My Life. I Refuse to Be Lonely. Came out the year that she died. And then they did one afterwards, Forever With You, in 98. And it's saying that the hymen is present when you're a virgin. So it'd be those little things, hymen and hymen that okay, anyway. Today because girls tend to be very active, the hymen is usually formed before they have sexual intercourse. So they're saying that when you're active, that I guess doing stuff like gymnastics, trying to do a split, riding bikes, anything, I guess, karate, martial arts, that, that could tear your hymen. Some aerobics, kickboxing, anything like that, and that could do it even if you haven't had sexual intercourse. The hymen is then broken during intercourse when the penis enters the vagina. As I said, it's too common for the hymen to stretch due to normal activity for that to be a reliable indicator of virginity. When your hymen stretches, you may not feel anything, or you may feel some soreness or have a little bleeding. My bad. So I guess having a kidnapper, growing up with the kidnapper, I guess what the thing was with these kidnappers that they tried to have, like that went in Danny Glover's, and they tried to like grow up kids in the kidnapping, because they were child molesters, because I found that some of those activities, they're trying to prove that, she was fast and that's why I did it. She was fast and she came on to me, that's probably why, try to remove some of those activities, like, the gymnastics, or, try to not have them, interested in those type of activities that would just naturally tear the hymen, versus, what they can be like, she definitely was sexually active and, fast or whatever. Because I found that to be in mine. The gymnastics. What else did I say? Like splits. You know, um, trying to like prove all that time, trying to prove their case, because it was already guilty. It already had a sentence. So it's like, doing all this time, all they was doing was trying to prove, trying to get not guilty, trying to get free. So like, I couldn't do a split, I couldn't get in martial arts, I had to stop doing gymnastics, all of those type of things. Riding the bikes. I couldn't have my own bike. Like, I could only ride my cousin's bikes, I think at the time, or maybe I did have my bike, but I couldn't keep a bike in my own home, So it's like, it's like, oh, really? Like, really? As I said, it is too common for the hymen to stretch due to normal activity for that to be a reliable indicator of virginity. When your hymen stretches, you may not feel anything, or you may feel some soreness or have a little bleeding. While the back behind the vagina is the anus. The small entrance to the rectum, through which bowel movements, also called feces or stool or poop, leave the body. In both males and females, the food material that the body does not need travels into the rectum and out the anus as a bowel movement. So again, what comes out is what the body does not need, is what it's saying. Can you imagine it being like, like, oh, I'll take it. You don't need it. I'll take it. Another person's this is somebody else's this. During puberty, the skin around the anus may darken, and you may get some pubic hair growing there, but the anus isn't part of the vulva, it's just very close to. To avoid getting an infection in your vagina after you have a bowel movement, reach around behind you and wipe yourself from front to back. So this has always been one of those things that I can never remember. It's like, is it front to back? Wait a minute, is it back to front? Is it really, like, that is, I don't know why, like, maybe just, I don't know, maybe it's just being in different communities, certain things, some people remember and some people don't. But that was one of those things, I don't know if it's, being a prince, I don't know, that, the royal penis is clean, your highness, the royal ass is clean, your highness, I don't know. But it was one of those things that I just could never remember. Front to back, back to front, like, I don't freaking know. This says front to back, but I bet you next week I'm not gonna remember. Listen. Excuse me. The ovaries of each baby girl contain 1 to 2 million egg cells, but they are not yet fertile, that is, able to produce babies. When the girl reaches puberty, she has between 300 and 400,000 egg cells that are mature enough to become babies. So they're saying that when you are a baby, that you have much more, you're in the millions. But when a girl reaches puberty, that she's in the thousands. So I guess they're saying when you're in the millions, you can't have babies. When you're in thousands, you can. The egg develops in one of her ovaries, and when it is mature, it will leave the ovary and go into the fallopian or uterine tube. Each tube is 3 to 4 inches long and about the diameter of a spaghetti strand. What did I say? Each tube is 3 to 4 inches long and about the diameter of a spaghetti strand. So after the mother gives birth, the uterus shrinks back to its usual size, which is about the size of your fist. The cervix or neck is the narrow bottom of the uterus that sits at the top of the vagina. During childbirth, the cervix begins to dilate or open when it is time for the baby to be born. When the uterus begins to contract and the mother pushes the baby out, the cervix stretches from the size of the tip of a pencil to about 4 or 5 inches across. And keep in mind that she is using mother. So when the uterus begins to contract and the baby pushes the baby out. And I think that's an important note because of the Bible reference to mother and father. Because that's an opportunity for defense as a father. That's an opportunity for defense as a mother. Because, if your mother goes with this father and there's some, I don't know what to call it, some violator, tramp offender, criminal trying to assume the position per se, you have defense there. And it should be the same for father. If there's some offender, violator, criminal trying to assume the position, that should be there as well. And that extends to step because it's mother and father. So that would mean that step mother goes with step father, not stepfather and mother and stepmother and father. Mother goes with father, and you don't try to make one be. It is what it is. Stepfather goes with stepmother, mother goes with father. It can be a beautiful, it's like, oh, let's read, let's do this. Let's do this, honey. Like, no, she's using mother, honey. And I use that in a very loving way because, Jack got a honey. It can be a beautiful, exciting, loving act that gives pleasure to both partners, even if they are not, not in the offender, but I'm just saying, like, the offender can't have honey. Like, I wouldn't call that one that's trying to assume the position honey. I wouldn't try to give that one honey. I mean, come on. It can be a beautiful, exciting, loving act that gives pleasure to both partners, even if they are not planning to make a baby. If one of those sperm reaches the uterus and enters the egg within 24 hours of when the egg left the ovary, fertilization takes place. The egg becomes planted in the uterus and the baby will begin to grow. So I guess another awesome thing that's coming up is that, one reason why it might be with those commandments, in terms of kill and murder, is to make that distinction that it's defense. When there's entitlement, when there's birthright, versus, because it's my baby daddy, girl. I got like 3 baby dads, because he's one of them, girl. He's one of mine. And she's one of mine. It's my baby mama of how many, whatever, And it could be that one, even if you had to experience however many. The point is mother, father. It may be normal depending on when the other women in your family started puberty, but it's best to ask to see your doctor to have it checked out. You have no signs of puberty by 13 or 14, or you have not started a period within 2 years of starting breast development. Heavy periods can be the first sign of a bleeding disorder. Growing pains usually occur in younger children rather than teenagers, but they may occur in early puberty. A hot water bottle or a massage may help. If you are still experiencing growing pains, try applying a hot water bottle or heating pad to where it hurts, or do something aerobic, such as taking a brisk walk, riding a bike, swimming, or anything else to get your heart pumping. This usually goes away by the end of your teen years, if not sooner, though some people have acne into adulthood. Acne happens because the oil glands, which are right under the skin, are becoming more active, becoming producing more oil than usual. In the case of whiteheads, the pores in your skin, on your face, chest, or back get blocked by sebum, a substance made by the oil glands. If the bump pushes outward, chemical reaction on the skin turns it dark. Pimples are caused when bacteria on the surface of the skin become trapped inside the pore, blocked with sebum, and become infected. So they're saying that when you have pimples, that there's infection and bacteria and blockage. But what had me thinking was, it's like, okay, the acne is happening because, and I'm not saying that it's, that sounds like very terrible and nasty, like you don't wash your skin or something like that. Like maybe if you clean your skin every once in a while, maybe you're not really washing yourself really well, and that's why you're getting pimples. But before that, I read about the acne and the oil glands, and about, and I mentioned when we started about being who you are, and sometimes that means being who you are in character and being who you are in security, and it may be a little different, but it's still who you are in that situation because of whatever. And I'm like, that could be the same with this acne. Why this acne is showing up. Because it might be the same for these oil glands. Like, you just never know. It's just one of those things that kind of make me interested in, like, becoming a physician. Because of those little intricacies. But I'm still waiting for Legally Blonde. Elle Woods goes to medical school now. Apply more every couple of hours if you're at the beach or if you go in for a swim or are sweating a lot. Some penises don't change size very much between the soft and erect stage, but the size of your erection changes a little from time to time also, depending on the exact situation you're in when you have one. Wow. You mean, so like, okay, if security, they were trying to rape yours, that it could have been a 3 incher, but with the real one, it might be, I don't know, 7? Okay. They can be hard as a bone, hence the term boner, even though there is no bone in the penis, or less hard. Does the penis have a bone? There's no bones in the penis, it's just like this fleshy thing. It said they can be hard as a bone, hence the term boner, even though there is no bone in the penis or less hard. And I'm thinking of what do you call that? What do you call that? Like in Righteous Kill, when you have like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro, and what do you call that thing? And you like have these two things and the two rows, and like you can pull it, you can have it come forward to you, and you can push it back. Like I'm just thinking of one of those things, like I don't know, it just seemed like a really cool game to just be like, like to I don't know, just call it boner. I don't know, you know, not see how many people you can hit. I'm like, goodness. Like I'm more like, okay, I'm gonna see how many people, like how many bulls I got by getting it. You know, that's fine. With an erection, the blood vessels along the shaft are easier to see. The testicles may become tighter and closer to your body. I know I got the L when it's a bunch of girls, but I got the NFL too. I got the NBA too. You know what I'm saying? That would be like such a cool game. Just me and like, I'm just gonna call it Boner. Like I'm gonna get a bullseye on like all the players, every football team, right? Every football player in the reserve players, and even college football players on how many. Like, okay, if you got one, I'm not gonna hit the bullseye. But if I got you, I'm gonna hit that bullseye every time. Pop, 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 pop. That's just seemed fun to me. Anyway, but that's just me. Okay. Because at the end of the day, like, wouldn't you want that to be like the CEO of like the NFL, the NBA? Come on, at the end of the day, if it's a female, come on. This happens when the bladder fills with urine during the night. The pressure from the bulging bladder can stimulate nerves at the base of the penis, causing it to become erect. Because your genitals are outside your body, they require extra attention. Cotton is important because it allows your genitals to breathe, and unlike synthetic fabrics, doesn't trap bacteria in the genital area. Oh man, it's like, okay, everything else wants to kill you because the only thing that you can breathe in is cotton. Come on now. Okay, for some sports like football, baseball, you know what? And I'm like, okay, if I'm like the only player in that game, like, I'm okay with that. It's hard being the CEO of the NBA and the NFL. For some sports like football, baseball, basketball, and hockey, athletic programs require jock straps with hard cuffs. To buy one, all you need to know, and no pun intended, to buy one, all you need to know is the size of your waist. Your larynx, which produces your deeper voice, may now have begun to stick out from the front of your neck in a bump called an Adam's apple. So it says it is, your larynx, which reduces your deeper voice, may now have begun to stick out from the front of your neck in a bump called an Adam's apple. Oh my gosh! You know what? See, it's stuff like that. But it's like, I'm in the L word. Beyonce, like, how you doing? Because I mean, who needs the stress? The pubic hair around the base of the penis becomes curlier, then turns coarser and darker. Shouldn't it be shaved? Should we really be having this discussion about curlier and coarser and darker pubic hair? Like, shouldn't it not be there? Or is that just too gay? If you have curly hair, it might be a good idea to have someone, perhaps a relative or a barber, teach you the best way for you to shave without irritating your face. Your nipples can also enlarge and darken, and you may develop a flat bump that looks like a button under one or both of them. Consult your family doctor if the breast tissue is very firm, painful, has any liquid coming from the nipple, or lasts longer than a few months. During puberty, it is normal not only to grow taller, but also to gain weight. This stage lasts about 3 years, and a girl may gain between 35 and 55 pounds during this time. After a woman has a baby, the glands will produce milk, which then travels to the ducts to the nipples, each of which has several tiny openings through which the baby can suck the milk. Inside the breast. So, is it selfish of me to be like, if I can breastfeed, we're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to meet you in the ring. I feel like practicing kickboxing right now. I mean, because I'm at the point that I want more than one. And how are you gonna breastfeed all of these babies with when you only have two breasts? Am I supposed to grow like, more breasts? So I'm like, essentially I'm saying that I should be having more than two. Anyhow, it's okay, you can breastfeed up to two babies, right? You got two breasts, you got one baby on one baby on another. I'm serious. I'm like, if I can breastfeed, like, you know, I'm like getting a flip in the ring right now with Vince looking like, now and then the body makes this fluid to wash out the breast ducts. Some are quite small and others can be very large, covering almost the entire end of the breast. It's not, I'm not to put any pressure on you or anything. I'm just like, I'm going for my Oscar, and like people have really invested in people have really invested in me. People have really invested in me in my SO, who have long gone, who have been here and are looking forward. It's in their dreams and their goals. And I don't want to let them down. So think of it this way. If I can breastfeed, it's like I'm letting down the past. People who have died for us, people who have planned for us, and we can't do that. So let's not disappoint our supporters. Stage 2, breast buds. Both the nipples and the areolae grow larger and darker. It's normal sometimes to feel a little tenderness or itchiness in your breast. This stage can last from several months to over a year. You may see the nipple and areola blending into a separate mound that sticks out from the breast. In stage 4, the nipple sticks out from the breast with its own little mound. Oh my gosh. Maybe that's why I didn't like, that candy bar mounds. Maybe that's what it was. It was like that and almond joy. It's like some candy bars that just like, okay, some things just didn't get approved by my palate. And mounds were one of them. And I'm like looking at this, I'm like, with coconut. I'm like, I'm not like, okay, maybe it's because like I may have said that I'm bisexual, but I think being bisexual, like I'm one or the other. And if Miles got coconut, I don't think I want it all at the same time. I'm either the Mouse or I'm the coconut. But I'm not both at the same time. And maybe that's what it is, why it's not, but then you're like, but you're like, okay, maybe I can get, like maybe, and then it became one of those things that, like the watermelon is one of those things, like, but it didn't, watermelon inspires vomit. The mouse at least did not do that. So maybe I'm like, okay, maybe that's one thing, I can, okay, maybe I can get with this a little bit. And I don't know if it's because of Prince that they just totally eliminated certain things from my diet, and maybe that's why. But it's like, oh my gosh, oh, yuck, man, woo. Okay, one breast may begin to get larger than the other. Very often, breasts will not grow to be exactly alike. One may be shaped a little differently or hang a little lower. Get a training bra, one for small chest or a sports bra if you like, to see if you like having one. Bra sizes have both a number and a letter, such as 34B. Oh my God, that's like my bra size. I'm like a 34B. I tried to be a C, but I think I'm like a 34B. Like, oh my God, just like my bra size, like for real. But I think I was thinking about going bigger. I was thinking about going larger. Like I got into the L word and I'm like, maybe I should do something like, you know, oh man, I was like, maybe I should do something like get breast implants. Like, like when, like that would be so like the L word in a way. Anyhow, the number is the band size and is based on the measurement around your rib cage below your breast. Sizes may actually, okay, so like where would I go from 34B? Like what would be like how can I still be like how can I still like and still like be, because it's like that's like the perfect size for me, like really it is. So how can I like beat that? Like what can I like, not necessarily, I know I can't beat it because it won't be real. So what can I do that would support real? How could I do that? And be in harmony with like the breast world. What could I do? Gosh, I couldn't go in D. because that like doesn't make sense to go from a 34B and then like, oh, I'm gonna be a 34D. I don't think that will work. So let's see, what can I do? There's A, B. You can go lower, so it has to be higher, right? C. Could I do a C? And how does that work again? So 34, C is the Y. C is the Y. The letter is the, no, oh, here we go. The number is the band size based on the measurement around your rib cage below your breast. So it's the width, and so the letter is the size of the boob. Hmm. I have to think about that. It's like, what could I do? Like, okay, I'm thinking C, but then what would the number be? If the number is the band size, huh? What could that be? C. What could go with C? Anyway, I don't know. I have to think about that. Would you still be in the 30s? Would you go in the 40s? Oh, so that couldn't really. Can you even change that? Because isn't the letter that you change, not the number? Anyway, so I guess you have to change it by getting larger or smaller. Okay, we're gonna go for it. Sizes may actually vary a little from bra to bra. Usually you can adjust the bra fit by making the straps longer or shorter. But there are other ways to feel comfortable, like wearing a camisole or tank top under a shirt or sweater so that no one can tell that you're not wearing a bra. During puberty, you can begin to grow hair under your arms or your legs and maybe in other places on your body as well, especially over your pubic bone. And it might not be the same color as the hair on your head. That's always a red flag when, they can't get out of seeing they can't get out of equating the hair on your private parts with the hair that they can see. Like, that's always a red flag. Not literally, of course. Let's see. Dry yourself thoroughly before putting on clean cotton underpants. Cotton underwear is best. Synthetic fabric can cause irritation by trapping bacteria in the genital area. Cotton lets your body breathe. Remember that it's very important to always wipe yourself with toilet paper from front to back. So I guess if you go in that community, then one way to kind of get around, it eliminating every other fabric is by using cotton blends. Douching, using a container, tubing, and a nozzle to rinse the vagina. But to recap, once each month, your brain sends a hormone to your ovaries that causes the ova or eggs inside to grow right. After this is happening, another hormone, estrogen, begins to build up inside the small sac that contains the ovum. So it doesn't seem like we're going to get to read all of this. This has been, very fun and entertaining. With seriousness, its own level of seriousness. When it is fully mature, it will burst out of its sac and be swept up into the fallopian tube, through which it travels to your uterus or womb. Meanwhile, another female sex hormone, progesterone, signals the endometrial lining of the uterus to build up a soft, thick cushion of blood vessels, tissue, and fluids. When one's month's menstruation is completed, the cycle begins all over again. The uterine lining begins to reveal. The eggs, ova begins to grow inside their little sacs, and eventually an egg is released. Hot water will set the blood stain into the fabric. Throughout the day, your flow may vary from little dribbles to big gushes. If your periods are regular over time, you can begin to anticipate when to expect your next period by keeping a calendar. I have tried that. I don't know about you, but I guess it works generally, but for me, it's not like, oh, exactly 28 days. Oh, exactly 24 days. It just doesn't work like that with me. Maybe if I made my own calendar versus like it being made for me, maybe, I don't know. It may be different. Again, just being a prince, things are a little different. Because no one's making the blood for you. No one's making the egg for you. It's like your only egg. It's your body. So maybe it's supposed to be a match. I don't know. Okay. Some pads have tape just on the back, and others have side wings that also wrap around the crotch to hold them more firmly. Some girls like pads because they're simple to use and quick to change, and with them it is easy to see what's going on with their flow. Try different types to decide which does the best job for which day and feels the most comfortable. So for me, when tampons was introduced, like at first I started, of course, with pads, right? Being in middle school or something like that. But shucks, when like in high school, I think I started getting, was it middle or high school? I could have been younger. I don't know, but I started getting into fitness, and then the officer training, and you know tampons started being advertised like for the active person, and I don't think I started using them that young, but anyway, they just started being more active, and the past was being sold as messy and not as functional for my lifestyle. But I've since, just kind of squashed it all as to which one is better, which one is not. By the way, using tampons doesn't make you a non-virgin. A tampon fits inside the vagina where it's held in place by the muscles. And maybe that was some part of it too, like the hymen situation, and but remove the sheet of paper from the box, read the instructions, and look at the diagram. Make sure that the string hangs outside the bottom of the applicator. Guide the applicator into your vagina until your fingers touch your body. Then use your forefinger to push on the inner tube until the tampon is all the way into your vagina. And by the way, the tampon can get lost inside you. Now ideally you should be able to look towards your gynecologist or your family physician or whoever it is that, does your exams, because they're supposed to be that professional. They're supposed to be professional when it comes to tampons, when it comes to pads. They're not child molesters, they're not sex offenders. You're supposed to be able to look to them. We're supposed to keep that industry and that field, um, I don't want to say clean, but um, those type of offenders out so that you can go to them. You don't want, you sticking up, you don't want to be, you just don't want it where a situation where you can't, you using a tampon, you looking to them, because you don't necessarily, have that expertise, that medical expertise to use it or to insert it properly. But yeah, they're like, okay, that gives them permission to, you know, have sex with you, or you see this hot doctor, or whatever, somebody on their favorite team, or somebody that's connected in their circle, and that gives them permission to have sex with you, or whether it's male or female, like that's, or to molest you, or think, make you think you want something that you don't, so you want, to support that industry being professional and mentally fit for it, and not just assuming the position. Liners come in different sizes and shapes with a few types of absorbencies, but they don't vary as much as pads or tampons. So of course we'll do our part in sharing, you know, you know, different things like we do in sex and um, health, but maybe we'll, if we will have like a network of approved and, this, agency or this firm is approved by us or something like that, or guided by us, where you don't have to wonder, let's see. But to stay healthy and avoid the chance of leaks, it's best to open a new pad, tampon, or liner every 3 or 4 hours. I try to use liners, but I very rarely use them, even though I prefer to use them. But it just seems like maybe what they need to include are like liner bags. Like they sell the liners, they sell them all. They sell them. Sometimes they're separate, sometimes they're together, but they don't have like, I guess you gotta buy like your own. But for some reason, I don't like to mix. I don't know, because it's like when I buy them all together, maybe I need to buy a liner bag to put the liners in. And then you got a liner bag, and then you got this bag, and then all together in one bag. Never flush it down the toilet, because even brands that claim to be flushable can clog the pipes. I went to the wastewater treatment plant, you know, and he's like, some of the things that they find are, tampons and, other the things that he included, they find that can't be treated or whatever are like tampons. And I'm like, like that's one thing I admit that I still find myself doing. And I know it said brands that the brands claim to be flushable, that it still can clog the pipes, but it's something I still be in that frame of mind that it's flushable, and even though this says it too, just like the wastewater treatment plant says, it still winds up in there, even though it claims to be flushable, it can still clog the pipes. I still find myself doing it. For some reason, it doesn't seem like it's supposed to go in the trash. And I don't know what that is. It's different than a pad. So the pad can find its place there, but and the tampon part that you don't insert can find its place there, but not the tampon. So whatever that is, if that changes, maybe. But yeah, like that's how it's been. Symptoms include a sudden high fever, low blood pressure, vomiting or diarrhea, a rash, muscle aches, seizures, and headaches. At this time, the levels of your sex hormones will begin to drop and your periods may become irregular. This is because the level of estrogen in older women drops and they no longer make mature eggs. So we didn't get into cramps or anything like that. Thank God. That's one of the things that I have not, that was not put in mind. I just not one of those people that's like, oh, it's my time of month. I got these like cramps. You know, that's like, it's kind of, I'm on, it's terrible. Like I've never, like I just haven't had that experience. Which I think is a good thing. Because I can't imagine having to experience like cramps every month. And they, like that could not be a good thing. We didn't get into it or what causes it or whatever, but anyway, let me check. That's where we're gonna stop at right now. Since I did another part of the show, we can see if I'm gonna do the other half because I was like, I'm just gonna do this part and do the next part next time. And I guess we'll pick up on, so next time we're gonna do time, May 28th, 2018, people, May 28th, 2018, people, special collectors issue, June 4th, 2018, people, May 21st, 2018, and Cosmopolitan, June 2018. And then we'll finish up being a teen. Everything teen girls and boys should know about relationships, sex, love, health, identity, and more, Jane Fonda. And I think it's also interesting to point out that it's teens. I think I mentioned that I started school back up. I did 2 semesters at Union. And, when I went to college the first time, I was a teenager, 18. It was right, I had just turned 18. So, I can imagine that most of the people, the students there, teenagers or in their 20s. And that's a special kind of time. I think, and you know, um, especially doing this show. That's one of our, so that's a special time in a person's life, and it's not to be taken for granted, and it's not to be abused, and it's to be attention to, you know. I think as understanding a teenager or a teen, part of that is not supporting certain things to be there that aren't supposed to be. And by supporting things being there that are supposed to be. Like for instance, at the wastewater treatment plant, the teacher was the guy had before we started, he was like, well, he's retiring. He has been there however many years, more than 2 decades, and he was retiring this month actually. And I think he said it might be June 30th. Ironically, babies are rising towards the rest of closing too at the end of this month, but that could be the same date. And so the teacher was taking a picture, and when everybody get in the picture, she wasn't in it, but he was in it. And one of the guys, I don't know if he's a teenager, I'm assuming that he's a teenager, not in his 20s, was like, well, I'm standing to the side. I was like, why you don't want to take a picture with us? Like he had it in himself to come out and be like, now why do you want to take a picture with us? And I'm like, well, because they're taking the picture in front of the marquee and all of this and all of that. And, I'm like, well, he's retiring, and and like being there, and he's retiring, and um, um, it's just like, like it was just something about that I didn't want to like. There was no confidence that whoever was to go into that position would have something that I thought that was in that situation. I was like, I just didn't want to take a picture of that one. I felt as though, I would have them in the situation if I didn't include myself in it, versus being in it and then it's like, oh, like we all in this, and the teacher's taking a picture. So I felt like being out of it, like I could still, I don't want to say be in it and out of it, but in a way, it's like in a way, so it's like, I just, be in this one out of it, but whether he was a teenager or whether he was in his 20s, he had in himself to be like, why you don't want to do it, you know, um, what is actually going on, before somebody be like, oh, she, before somebody get it in their mind to be like, oh, she don't want to take a picture with us, or she, anti, or excuse me, or, just to squash all of that, like, why don't you want to do it, you know, because why are we over there too? Why are we over there too and right here? So teenagers can be very awesome, I think. And they're also part of what you know, this show is about as well, even though we mentioned a lot about the babies and the babies, but the teens and the teenagers are um, in those 20s, are also what we're about as well. So, anything else I want to share before closing up? Oh, so I said I put 2 semesters in at Union. We since have made the decision to discontinue there and to revert back to our alma mater. So we're gonna put some energy and time into, making it happen, while also not, also keep in mind the focus of, Virginia Union and, what Union has been up against, and, the other historically Black colleges and universities. And with that being said, Breaking In came out Mother's Day. I haven't had a chance to see it, but I am waiting for it to get to the bird. And when it gets there, it's I'm hoping, I kind of, check, regularly, see what they have, what's interesting. Sometimes, it's just, just being in that community is like, the community inspires you to just, check and see what's going on here. This is going on here, and and it happens that way as well. So, um, Breaking In, and so that has been the show. This has been the Late Late Show with BT. Bye.